Today I will share with you some life-changing philosophy. Before we start, make sure to like the video and subscribe. Also, comment where are you watching from and at what time you are watching. Have a nice sleep. Have you ever felt like you're living someone else's life? Like you're sitting in the passenger seat instead of the driver's seat, watching the scenery outside your window unfold without really being in control? It's a common feeling, that sense of disconnect between who you are and who you could be. But what if I told you that you already have everything you need to take charge? What if you realized that you're not just another person trying to get through life, but actually the emperor of your own life, and it's time for you to take the throne? Let's get real for a moment. Understanding your own power isn't easy. It takes courage to look at your life honestly and recognize that you're the one holding the reins. But when you do, something amazing happens. You start to see that every choice, every decision, every moment is an opportunity to rule your life with wisdom and purpose. And today we're going to talk about how to embrace that power, how to truly become the emperor of your own life. Before we begin, please subscribe and tap the notification bell so you never miss out on more amazing videos like this. Let's get started. We'll start at the beginning, the morning. Have you ever noticed how your whole day seems to flow from those first few moments after you wake up? It's not just about whether you got enough sleep or if you're running late. It's about something deeper. The way you choose to begin each day sets the tone for everything that follows. And if you're going to rule your life like an emperor, you need to start with a morning worthy of one. Think about this for a moment. Have you ever rushed through your morning, skipping breakfast, barely awake as you check your phone, and then wondered why you felt off balance all day? That's not how an emperor starts their day. That's not how someone who values their time and energy greets the morning. Let's talk about what it means to really own your morning. Marcus Aurelius, a true emperor and Stoic philosopher, understood this perfectly. He knew that the quality of your thoughts shapes the quality of your life. And where do these thoughts begin? In those crucial first moments of consciousness when you're deciding what kind of day you're going to have. This isn't just about having a routine, it's about creating a ritual that reinforces your sovereignty. Let's break this down into something practical. Your morning isn't just about getting ready for the day. It's about preparing yourself to rule. Start with 3 simple actions that require minimal willpower, but create immediate positive momentum. Make your bed. This might seem small, but it's your first act of bringing order to your domain. Hydrate your body. Whether it's water, tea, or coffee, make it intentional. Take 5 minutes of complete quiet. No phone, no TV, no input, just you. Sitting with your thoughts like a ruler contemplating their kingdom. These aren't just habits, they are declarations of intent. Each one says, I am in control. I choose how this day begins. And when you start making these choices consciously, something shifts. You're no longer just going through the motions. You're actively shaping your reality. Move your body, awaken your power. Besides shaping your reality, you also need to shape the physical vessel you experience that reality in, your body. Think about this. After waking up, your body has been still for hours. And just like a car that's been sitting in cold weather, it needs time to warm up. Take 20 minutes to walk or move. It's not just about exercise. It's about awakening your entire system. Whether it's gentle stretching that helps you reconnect with your body, a brisk walk that gets your blood flowing, or a more intense workout that energizes you. Movement is your body's way of saying, I'm ready for what's ahead. Notice how different you feel after moving your body. The fog lifts, your mind becomes sharper, and suddenly the day's challenges don't seem quite so daunting. This isn't just about physical health. It's about starting your day from a place of strength and vitality. Feed your mind. Expand your empire. Just as your body needs movement, your mind craves nourishment. Dedicate another 20 minutes to reading, writing, or learning. These aren't just tasks to check off, they're investments in your intellectual growth. Maybe you spend this time journaling about your thoughts and aspirations, reading works that inspire and challenge you, or learning something new that expands your horizons. Think of this time as a conversation with yourself. and the great minds that have come before you. The Stoics understood that true growth comes from consistent, deliberate practice. When you engage your mind first thing in the morning, you're not just consuming information, you're building mental resilience that will serve you throughout the day. Command your day before it commands you. Finally, plan. Remember the last time you felt completely overwhelmed by your day. Chances are, it wasn't just about having too much to do. It was about not having a clear plan of action. Take 20 minutes in the morning to plan. This is your opportunity to take control of your day before it takes control of you. Review your goals, organize your tasks, and set your intentions while the day is still fresh and full of potential. Don't think of this as rigid scheduling. It's about creating clarity and purpose. When you know what matters most and have a plan to achieve it, you move through your day with intention rather than reaction. Here's the truth. The world will always try to steal your morning. Emails will ping, notifications will flash, and the urgent will try to overshadow the important. But protecting this time isn't selfish, it's necessary. Think of it as creating a sanctuary for yourself, a space where you can focus on what truly matters before the day's demands begin to pour in. As your routine becomes second nature, you'll find yourself naturally drawn to more sophisticated practices. Visualization becomes a powerful tool for manifesting your goals. Strategic planning helps you see beyond the day to the bigger picture. And practices like meditation or extended exercise deepen your connection with yourself. Remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Start where you are, with what you have. Be consistent, but be gentle with yourself. Your morning routine should feel like a gift you give yourself, not a burden you bear. Because when you invest in your mornings, you invest in every moment that follows. The choice to create a meaningful morning routine is really a choice to create a meaningful life. So tomorrow morning, when you open your eyes, remember, you have the power to shape your day, starting with those first precious moments. This is how you'll begin to learn to use your time wisely. If you don't, you may find yourself lying in bed at night, scrolling through your phone, wondering where the day went. Maybe you started with grand plans, deadlines to meet, projects to complete, goals to chase, but somehow the hours slipped away. You're not alone. We've all been there, trapped in that cycle of knowing we should use our time better but feeling powerless to change our habits. But what if I told you that your relationship with time doesn't have to feel like a constant battle? Because understanding how to manage your time isn't just about productivity, it's about reclaiming your life. It's about building a relationship with time that feels empowering rather than overwhelming. Time management, taking control of your day. The first step is to stop being too reactive. If you're constantly responding to other people's emergencies, always putting out fires and never finding time for what truly matters to you, it might be time to ask yourself, are you managing your time, or is time managing you? Living in reactive mode feels like being caught in a storm, doesn't it? Your phone buzzes with notifications, your inbox fills faster than you can empty it, and your to-do list seems to grow exponentially. Think about this for a moment. When was the last time you sat down to work on something important to you? Maybe that business idea you've been dreaming about, or that creative project that lights you up, only to find yourself derailed by urgent requests from others. Your heart sinks as you watch another day slip away, filled with activities that keep you busy but don't move you closer to your goals. Let's bring this back to a great philosopher for a moment. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, every moment, think steadily as a Roman and a man to do what you have in hand with perfect and simple dignity. This isn't about rushing through tasks or multitasking until you're exhausted. It's about bringing intention and presence to how you spend your precious hours. The first step, conduct a time audit. To break free from reactive mode, start by conducting a time audit. For one full week, track where your hours actually go. Be brutally honest with yourself. How many hours disappear into social media? How much time do you spend responding to non-urgent messages? Looking at these patterns might feel uncomfortable at first, like checking your bank statement after a month of impulsive spending. But clarity, even when it stings, is the foundation of change. Next, when assessing your time, look at where you can start to cut. Do you find yourself saying yes to commitments you don't really want to make? Do you let others interrupt your focused work because you feel guilty about protecting your time? Just like in a relationship where healthy boundaries create respect and trust, your relationship with time needs clear, consistent boundaries to thrive. Time blocking. Defend your schedule. Time blocking is your first line of defense. Think of your calendar as sacred ground. When you schedule time for important work, protect it as fiercely as you would protect your most valuable possessions. Because here's the truth, your time is your most precious resource. You can earn more money, you can regain lost energy, but time, once it's gone forever. Work with your natural rhythms. Understanding your natural rhythms is crucial. Are you sharper in the morning? Reserve those golden hours for your most challenging work. Does your energy dip after lunch? That's perfectly normal. Plan lighter tasks for that period. Working with your natural cycles instead of against them isn't lazy, it's strategic. The challenge of modern distractions. And speaking of what's natural, we all struggle with something our ancestors never knew. Our relationship to technology, your phone, your laptop, your tablet. They're supposed to be tools that serve you, not masters that control you. But somewhere along the way, many of us have lost that balance. We've become like someone in a toxic relationship, constantly checking our devices out of habit or anxiety rather than genuine need. Think about how you feel after spending hours scrolling through social media. That empty, slightly guilty feeling. It's your inner wisdom telling you that this isn't how your time was meant to be spent. But just like breaking free from any unhealthy relationship, changing your technology habits requires awareness, intention, and a solid plan. Start by creating technology-free zones in your day. Maybe it's the first hour after you wake up, or the last hour before bed. Perhaps it's during meals or when you're spending time with loved ones. These boundaries might feel uncomfortable at first. You might even experience that anxious pull to check your phone, but stick with it. The peace you'll find on the other side is worth the temporary discomfort. But be mindful of your level of discomfort. Don't let it get too high. Here's a truth that might be hard to swallow. Constantly pushing yourself without proper rest isn't productivity, it's self-sabotage. Just like a toxic relationship where you're always giving and never receiving, running yourself ragged will eventually lead to burnout. Strategic recovery, whether through exercise, meditation, quality sleep, or simply doing things you enjoy, isn't a luxury, it's essential. Think of it like recharging your phone. You wouldn't expect your phone to run indefinitely without charging, so why do you expect that from yourself? Schedule downtime with the same intentionality as you schedule work. Block out time for activities that rejuvenate you. This isn't selfish, it's necessary, because when you're well rested and energized, you bring your best self to everything you do. Your relationship with time is one of the most important relationships you'll ever have. It affects every aspect of your life, your work, your relationships, your personal growth, and your peace of mind. Just like any relationship, it requires attention, care, and constant nurturing. Start small. Choose one area to focus on first. Maybe it's creating morning boundaries with your phone, or blocking out 1 hour each day for your most important work. Notice how having clear boundaries actually creates more freedom within them. Remember, this isn't about perfection, it's about progress. You deserve a relationship with time that feels empowering, so make it happen as the emperor of your life. But time isn't the only thing you as emperor have to monitor. There's also your health. Have you ever noticed that tension in your shoulders before a big meeting? That knot in your stomach when you're faced with a tough decision? These aren't just random sensations. They're your body's intelligence trying to communicate with you. And if you're constantly ignoring these signals, you're missing out on crucial data about your mental state. Let's be honest for a moment. Most of us go through life on autopilot, pushing aside our physical responses and telling ourselves we'll deal with them later. But here's the truth. Your body is like a sophisticated early warning system. That tightness in your chest during important conversations, it's telling you something. That subtle irritation crawling under your skin when someone interrupts your flow, that's data. Think about this for a second. How often do you actually pause to notice what's happening in your body? Most people push through discomfort until it becomes unbearable. They ignore the subtle signs until they turn into blaring alarms. But what if you could catch these signals early? What if you could use them to make better decisions, to understand yourself more deeply? This isn't about changing your emotions, it's about understanding them. Start paying attention to your patterns. When do you feel most overwhelmed? What situations consistently trigger strong reactions? If you're constantly feeling drained after certain interactions or environments, that's not random. It's a pattern asking to be noticed. Use a journal or app to monitor your key metrics: sleep quality, mood, productivity, exercise. Look for patterns. What conditions lead to your best days? Remember that you can't be an effective ruler if your kingdom is crumbling. Your body is your primary domain, and it requires consistent care and attention. Of course, we can't talk about our physical environment without also talking about money. Think about your relationship with money for a moment. When was the last time you made a financial decision that wasn't driven by immediate needs or fears? So many of us operate from a place of scarcity, treating money like a necessary evil rather than a tool for building the life we want. But here's the truth. Your financial health is intimately connected to your personal sovereignty, and it deserves the same thoughtful attention you give to any other aspect of your life. The Stoics understood something profound about wealth. Seneca, who was a wealthy man, wrote extensively about the relationship between money and wisdom. He didn't condemn wealth. Instead, he emphasized using it as a tool for good, while remaining detached from its pursuit. This balance is exactly what we need to cultivate in our modern lives. Maybe you've faced financial challenges in the past: debt, job loss, or significant medical expenses. Instead of seeing these as failures, view them through the lens of Stoic philosophy. Each challenge is a chance to demonstrate resilience, to learn, and to adjust your strategy. Let's bring this back to the concept of personal sovereignty. Every financial decision you make is either expanding or contracting your freedom to live authentically. When you choose to save instead of spending impulsively, you're investing in your future freedom. When you take time to learn about investing or investigate other ways to gain resources, you're strengthening your position as the ruler of your own life. At the end of each day, take a moment to reflect. Look at your choices, financial and otherwise, through the lens of sovereignty. Ask yourself, did my decisions today bring me closer to or further from my goals? Am I building an empire of lasting value, or am I chasing temporary satisfaction? Life is a marathon, not a sprint. It's about making consistent, wise choices that align with your long-term vision. The key is to approach it with patience and strategy. In the end, it's all about freedom. Emotional freedom, like building an empire, is a journey that unfolds one choice at a time. Each moment presents an opportunity to practice the ancient wisdom of the Stoics, to respond rather than react, to choose wisdom over impulse, to find strength in stillness. As we wrap up, I want you to imagine something. Picture yourself at the end of your day, standing at your window, looking out over your domain, your kingdom, your life. Feel the profound sense of peace that comes from knowing that today you ruled your inner empire with wisdom. Every emotion you experienced wasn't a disruption to your peace, but an opportunity to practice mastery. With every challenge, you demonstrated your freedom to act. Think about the Stoic thinkers who came before us. They understood that true power isn't found in controlling the world around us. It's found in mastering our inner world. They knew that emotional freedom isn't about suppressing our feelings, but about choosing our response to them. This is the art they practiced, and it's the art we continue to refine today. Forget perfection. The Stoics taught us that progress, not perfection, is the path to wisdom. Each day is a new opportunity to practice emotional mastery, to strengthen your inner sovereignty, to build an empire of peace within yourself that no external circumstance can shake. Remember, you are the emperor of your world. Every moment is a chance to practice the art of Stoic wisdom. Make every day count. In the whirlwind of our daily lives, where challenges loom at every corner, the strength to not just survive but thrive is something we all yearn to harness. Imagine, then, not merely pushing through but evolving through every trial, emerging not only unscathed but stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Today, we delve into the core of what it means to be unbreakable. We explore the 6 defining habits of mentally strong people, habits that are not inherited but forged in the fires of discipline and self-reflection. Each moment of hardship, every instance where life knocks you down, these are not merely obstacles but opportunities. Opportunities that mentally strong people leverage to fortify their inner strength. What if I told you that the secret to enduring strength isn't about never falling, but about learning the art of rising every time we fall? It's about embracing the pain, learning from the turbulence, and transforming turmoil into triumph. So if you see the value in turning challenges into stepping stones, then join us, subscribe, and become part of a community committed to building strength. Are you ready to discover the incredible potential that lies beyond your trials? Let's get started. The very nature of life is change, yet how often do we find ourselves fighting it, resisting it, as if we could somehow escape the inevitable? The truth is, change is not just a part of life, it is life itself. Stoic philosophy teaches us that the only constant is change, and the mastery of one's life lies in the ability to adapt. To be mentally strong, to truly thrive in the midst of life's tempests, one must not only accept change, but welcome it with open arms. Think about the last time you faced a significant change. Perhaps it was a move to a new city, a shift in your career, or even a change in a personal relationship. Was it uncomfortable? Did it feel like you were losing a part of yourself? These feelings are natural, but here lies the crucial insight. Within that discomfort lies a profound opportunity for growth. Imagine for a moment that you are a ship at sea. Change is the wind. It can be unpredictable, wild, and frightening. But those who are mentally strong are the skilled sailors, adept at adjusting their sails, using the wind to propel them forward rather than be dashed against the rocks. They understand something fundamental, that the wind is not their enemy but a force that can be harnessed to explore new horizons. Stoicism offers a perspective that change, no matter how daunting, carries with it the seeds of new strength. It teaches us that what we initially perceive as setbacks are often veiled opportunities. It's about perception. The Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius once said, "Our actions may be impeded, but there can be no impeding our intentions or dispositions, because we can accommodate and adapt." The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting, and this adaptation, this resilience, is at the core of mental strength. Let me share a story that illustrates the power of embracing change. It's about a friend of mine who lost his job, a career he had built over decades. Initially, he was devastated, overwhelmed by uncertainty and fear, but then he took a step that many might find counterintuitive. He embraced this dramatic change. He used his newfound time to pursue a passion he had always placed on the back burner: painting. Fast forward to today, and he not only found solace in his art, but has turned it into a thriving new career path. This wouldn't have been possible if he hadn't embraced the winds of change, stepping into the unknown with courage. So, how can you start to embrace change? Begin by viewing each change as an experiment, a step towards discovering new aspects of yourself. Whether it's changing a habit, altering your routine, or even changing the way you think about change itself, each step is a lesson, each pivot a chapter in your story of growth. Remember, every time you embrace change, you're not just adapting, you're setting the stage for transformation. Change breaks the old to make way for the new, and in that newness you find new strengths, new passions, and new paths to happiness that you could never have anticipated. This isn't just about suppressing what you feel, far from it. It's about understanding your emotions, channeling them constructively, and maintaining equilibrium even in the face of life's upheavals. We've all been there, right? Those moments when our feelings seem to get the better of us, clouding our judgment, dictating our actions. But what if we could master these tempestuous seas, navigate through them with the composure of a Stoic philosopher? Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot control what happens to us, we absolutely can control how we respond. Picture this. You're faced with a situation that typically sends your heart racing and your mind spiraling into a vortex of what-ifs and whys. Now, imagine observing your reaction as an outsider, acknowledging the surge of emotion but choosing a different response. You take a breath. You pause. In that pause lies your power. The power to choose a response that aligns with your values, not just your instincts. This approach doesn't mean your emotions are invalid or that they should be ignored. Quite the contrary. It means you recognize and respect your feelings without letting them steer your life off course. It's about saying, yes, I feel this anger or anxiety, but I choose not to let it dominate my actions. It's about reclaiming control, one thought, one decision at a time. Think of the last time you faced a stressful situation. Maybe it was a disagreement with a friend, a setback at work, or a financial strain. Reflect on how you reacted. Did your emotions lead to actions you later regretted? Now, let's reimagine that scenario. This time, you channel your inner stoic. You allow yourself to feel the emotion fully and without judgment. You observe it, understand its source, and then gently but firmly guide it to a place of reason and wisdom. This self-regulation is not about denial, it's about management and transformation. It's turning the heat of anger into the light of understanding. It's transforming the paralysis of fear into the clarity of caution. By mastering our emotions, we don't just endure life's challenges, we thrive amidst them. We turn our emotional energy into fuel for personal growth and achievement. And here's something else. Each time you successfully manage an emotional response, you build a little more resilience, a little more strength. Like a muscle that grows stronger with exercise, your emotional resilience expands with each challenge faced and overcome. You begin to trust in your ability to handle whatever comes your way, not because you are the master of it. So, next time you find yourself in the whirlwind of emotional turmoil, remember this. You have the tools to calm the storm. You can acknowledge your emotions as natural, but choose actions that are rational. Embrace the stoic wisdom that has empowered countless souls through millennia, not as a suppression of emotion, but as a transformation of it. Harness it, mold it, and let it elevate you to heights you never thought possible. In a world that never sleeps, where the demands on our time and energy are incessant, learning to set boundaries is not just wise, it's essential. Stoicism teaches us the value of self-mastery and inner tranquility, but how often do we sacrifice these for the sake of others? The truth is, without setting firm boundaries, we risk not only our well-being, but also our ability to pursue what truly matters. Think of your energy as a sacred reserve, a finite source that fuels not only your daily activities, but also your deepest passions and pursuits. When this reserve is depleted by the countless demands of others, be they work commitments, social obligations, or even the subtle pressures of digital media, what's left for you? How can you pursue your personal goals or invest in self-care when your energy has been spent on everything but yourself? Setting boundaries is thus not about selfishness, it's about self-preservation. It's about discerning what truly deserves your time and energy, and having the courage to say no to the rest. Stoic philosophy doesn't call us to turn away from the world, but to engage with it on our terms, to ensure that our interactions are intentional and our commitments meaningful. Let me tell you a story about a close friend of mine, someone who always went the extra mile for everyone. She was the first to arrive and the last to leave. The person who volunteered for every project, who never said no. Initially, it seemed like her boundless energy knew no limits, until it did. One day, she confided in me that she felt exhausted, not just physically but emotionally. She was giving so much to others that she had forgotten to give to herself. After much reflection, inspired partly by the Stoic practice of self-reflection, she began to set boundaries. She started small, by limiting the number of projects she would take on and by carving out time for her hobbies. The change wasn't instant, but over time, she found herself feeling less drained and more fulfilled. She was still generous with her time, but now it was on her terms, ensuring she had enough left for the things that truly enrich her life. How then can we start setting these vital boundaries? It begins with self-awareness. Take a moment to reflect on what parts of your life feel overwhelming or draining. Is it a particular commitment that brings more stress than satisfaction? Or perhaps it's a relationship that demands more than it gives back. Recognizing these drains on your energy is the first step toward setting boundaries. Next, communicate these boundaries clearly and firmly. This doesn't mean being confrontational. Rather, it's about being honest with others about what you can and cannot do, what you are willing to accept and what you are not. It's about teaching others how to treat you by showing them what you value. And finally, enforce these boundaries. It's one thing to set them, it's another to maintain them. This might mean turning down invitations, stepping back from obligations that no longer serve you, or simply learning to prioritize your own needs alongside those of others. This enforcement isn't a one-time act, but a continuous process that requires dedication and commitment. In the tapestry of life, every thread you weave plays a part in the larger picture of your story. Each decision, every action holds the weight of potential outcomes, and understanding this is pivotal. In the world of Stoicism, there is a profound emphasis on the concept of taking responsibility, not just in our actions but also in our reactions. The Stoic philosophers taught that while we cannot always control what happens to us, we have absolute power over how we respond. This doctrine isn't just about accountability, it's about empower. Let's delve into a narrative that perhaps we've all lived in one way or another. Picture yourself working on a project that's close to your heart. You've poured in hours, days, maybe even months of effort, but despite your dedication, things go awry. It's a familiar scenario, isn't it? Maybe the results fell short of expectations, or an unforeseen issue threw everything off course. It's in moments like these that your character is tested. Do you look outward, casting blame on circumstances or others? Or do you look inward, assessing what part you played in the outcome? I remember a time when I faced a similar situation. It was a project I believed in deeply, and initially, when it didn't pan out, my first instinct was to blame external factors. The timing was off, the resources were insufficient, the support wasn't adequate. But upon reflection, a fundamental Stoic practice, I realized that these were elements I could have anticipated, perhaps even mitigated. Acknowledging that I had missed these signs was tough. It's not easy to admit our oversights. However, this admission was a turning point. It shifted my perspective from one of blame to one of learning. I asked myself, what can this teach me? Instead of, why did this happen to me? This shift is crucial. It transforms moments of failure into opportunities for growth. When you take responsibility for your actions, you move from a passive state where life happens to you to an active state where you happen to life. You start to see every challenge as a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. This doesn't mean you won't encounter frustrations or disappointments, but instead of allowing them to defeat you, you use them as fuel to forge ahead, to refine your strategies and to strengthen your resolve. Taking responsibility might sound daunting, but it begins with simple, everyday decisions. Start by owning your choices, both big and small. Did a conversation not go as planned? Reflect on your words and consider how different approaches might yield different results. Was a goal not achieved? Evaluate your methods and determine what adjustments are necessary to succeed next time. Each act of responsibility reinforces your agency and your capacity to influence your destiny. And remember, taking responsibility is not about shouldering a burden of guilt. It's about embracing a position of control. It's about saying, here is where I can do better, not here is where I failed. The Stoics believed in focusing on efforts, not outcomes, and in finding value in every experience, positive or negative. In the relentless pursuit of our goals, we often become our own harshest critics. It's easy to spiral into self-doubt and criticism when things don't go according to plan. But what if I told you that the secret to sustained success and inner peace lies not in constant self-critique, but in practicing self-compassion? This isn't just about being kind to yourself. It's about acknowledging your struggles, accepting your imperfections, and still choosing to nurture your spirit, much like the Stoics, who emphasized understanding and managing our own perceptions and reactions. Consider the times you faced setbacks or failures. Think about how you responded. Did you berate yourself, or did you take a moment to offer yourself understanding and grace? The journey to achieving anything significant is often riddled with obstacles and setbacks. It's how you speak to yourself in these moments that can either forge a path forward or create a barrier that is hard to break. I remember once, after a particularly challenging project, I found myself caught in a storm of self-criticism. I had worked tirelessly, yet the outcome was far from what I had hoped for. Initially, my inner dialogue was harsh, filled with messages of failure and self-doubt. But then I paused. I realized that if a friend had come to me with the same story, I would have offered words of encouragement and support, not criticism. Why, then, was I not offering the same to myself? Self-compassion is this shift in dialogue. It's treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a friend. The Stoics teach us not to be disturbed by events, but by our perception of these events. By practicing self-compassion, you alter your perception of your experiences from negative to nurturing. This doesn't mean shying away from responsibility or ignoring your mistakes. Instead, it means accepting your imperfections, learning from them, and moving forward without the heavy baggage of self-judgment. Practicing self-compassion starts with recognizing your humanity. Understand that to err is human, to struggle is part of growth. When you make a mistake, instead of diving into a sea of self-criticism, ask yourself, what can this teach me? Use setbacks as learning points, not as anchors that pull you down. Another step is to be mindful of your inner critic. Listen to the voices in your head and challenge them. Are they fair? Are they helpful? Would you say them to someone else? If not, it's time to reframe them. Replace critical thoughts with supportive, compassionate ones. This shift not only changes how you view yourself, but also how you interact with the world. Moreover, make self-compassion a regular practice. Just like physical exercise strengthens the body, regular moments of self-compassion strengthen your mental and emotional resilience. Set aside time to reflect on your day. Focus on what you did well and where you could improve, always through a lens of compassion. Embracing self-compassion means breaking free from the confines of self-doubt and adopting a more forgiving, understanding approach to personal challenges. It allows you to celebrate small victories while constructively learning from the losses. With self-compassion, you are not just surviving, you are thriving, learning to sail smoothly on the rough seas of life. In a world that constantly changes, the ability to keep learning and evolving is not just a skill, it's a necessity. Imagine navigating life's vast ocean with the relentless spirit of a voyager, one who knows that behind every horizon lies new knowledge and endless possibilities. This is the essence of mental strength, a perpetual thirst for growth, a deep-seated resolve to never stand still. It's about embracing the Stoic belief that life is a teacher and every experience a lesson. Remember, the path to self-improvement isn't paved with dramatic breakthroughs, but with continuous small steps of progress. Each step is a piece in the puzzle of who you are and who you might become. Think about the last time you learned something new, how it felt, the excitement, and sometimes the frustration. Did it change the way you think? Did it inspire you to explore further? This is the power of learning. It transforms your mind, expands your horizons, and reshapes your world. Let me share a personal story that illustrates this transformative power of continuous learning. A few years ago, I decided to delve into the art of photography. At first, it was merely a hobby, a way to capture moments of beauty. But as I learned more about the techniques, the history, and the stories behind each image, photography became more than just a pastime. It became a new lens through which I viewed the world. It taught me about light and shadow, about perspective, and most importantly, about the details that we often overlook. Each photograph became a lesson in patience and observation, and each lesson enhanced not just my skills with the camera, but my skills in life. To never stop learning is to maintain a state of readiness, to be adaptable in the face of change, and to always be prepared to seize new opportunity. It's about being curious and allowing that curiosity to propel you forward. Ask questions, seek answers, and challenge yourself to step outside your comfort zone. Whether it's picking up a new book, starting a new course, or simply exploring a new hobby, every new venture is a step toward becoming a more rounded, enlightened individual. Embracing continuous learning also means acknowledging that we never fully arrive. There is always something more to know, some new skill to acquire. This might seem daunting, but within this realization lies true freedom. The freedom to reinvent oneself, to innovate and to pivot without fear of the unknown. Stoicism teaches us not to fear failure, but to use it as a catalyst for growth. So when faced with challenges, don't shy away, dive deeper, learn from them, and emerge stronger. Moreover, make this journey of learning a shared one. Engage with others who are on their own paths of discovery. Exchange ideas, debate theories, and collaborate on projects. These interactions not only enrich your learning experience, but also build a community of like-minded individuals who support and inspire each other. Remember that the goal is not just to accumulate information, but to understand deeply, to apply wisely, and to live fully. So, I urge you, keep pushing the boundaries of what you know. Keep challenging the limits of what you can do. After all, in the words of the great philosopher Seneca, as long as you live, keep learning how to live. Have you ever felt utterly overwhelmed by the noise around you? The endless stream of opinions, expectations, and the relentless pressure of keeping up? Imagine this. Ancient Stoic philosophers over 2,000 years ago faced the same human emotions, struggles, and questions about identity and purpose that we grapple with today. It's fascinating, isn't it, that the wisdom from centuries past still holds profound relevance in our modern, fast-paced world. Today, we're diving deep into the Stoic way of life, uncovering timeless truths that can help us navigate the chaos of the 21st century with grace, resilience, and profound inner peace. Whether you're struggling with stress, seeking meaning, or simply curious about a philosophical approach to life that has stood the test of time, you're in the right place. Together we'll explore how Stoicism isn't just a set of ideas, but a practical guide to living more fully, authentically, and serenely. And if you're eager to embark on this journey of self-discovery and timeless wisdom with us, please hit that subscribe button. And remember, every part of this video is crafted with you in mind, so don't skip any section. Each moment is a step towards a more stoic, resilient you. Isn't it curious how, at some point in our lives, we find ourselves entangled in the web of others' opinions? We often surrender our peace of mind and happiness trying to fit into the molds others create for us. But let's pause for a moment and delve into ancient Stoic wisdom. Marcus Aurelius emphasized the futility of seeking external approval. He urges us to question this innate desire to please others, challenging us to break free from the chains of external validation. It's a liberating thought, isn't it? To realize that the only approval you truly need is your own. Now, think about it. When you lay your head on your pillow at night, it's your thoughts you're left with, not others. So why not make those thoughts about your true self, your values, and your actions? Imagine the freedom of being unapologetically you, not swayed by fleeting opinions or the latest trends. But how do we start caring less about people's opinions? It begins with understanding and reaffirming your values. What do you stand for? What matters most to you? When your actions are in harmony with your beliefs, there's a profound sense of peace and authenticity that no amount of external approval can match. Moreover, embracing your uniqueness attracts the right kind of people into your life. Those who appreciate you for who you genuinely are, not for who they want you to be. It's about quality, not quantity. Having a few meaningful relationships based on mutual respect and understanding is infinitely more fulfilling than seeking the fleeting approval of the masses. It's crucial to remember that people's opinions are just that, opinions. They are subjective, variable, and often more reflective of the person expressing them than of you. As Marcus Aurelius wisely points out, the only constant and true validation comes from within, from living a life aligned with your values and principles. When we talk about being honest, it's easy to default to the idea of not lying to others. But Stoicism invites us to explore honesty on a much deeper level. It's about aligning our external actions and words with our internal values and beliefs. This alignment fosters a profound sense of integrity and wholeness. Imagine the peace that comes from knowing your actions are not just surface-level performances, but true reflections of your inner self. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, really hammers this point home. He suggests that honesty doesn't just make moral sense, it makes practical sense. Think about it. Deceit requires us to remember our lies, cover our tracks, and live in constant fear of being found out. It's mentally exhausting. Honesty, on the other hand, is simple and liberating. It frees us from the tangled web of deceit and allows us to live with ease and clarity. But here's the real kicker. Honesty affects not only our relationship with others, but also with ourselves. When we are honest with ourselves about our strengths, our flaws, and our desires, we pave the way for genuine growth and self-acceptance. It's like clearing out the clutter in our minds to make room for more peace, more understanding, and more authentic connections with the people around us. And yet, embracing honesty is not always easy. It requires courage and vulnerability. It means sometimes admitting we were wrong, facing our mistakes, and dealing with the consequences of our actions. But the reward, trust, respect, and a clear conscience is immeasurably worth it. So how can we cultivate this virtue in our daily lives? It starts with small steps. Practice transparency in your interactions. Reflect on your day and acknowledge moments where you might not have been entirely honest. Ask yourself why and how you can improve. Remember, it's a journey, and every step toward honesty is a step toward a more serene and meaningful life. We've all felt that sting, that immediate reaction when someone's words or actions seem to hit us right where it hurts. Seneca, with his profound understanding of human nature, reminds us to look beyond the surface. He suggests that when someone acts in a way that we find hurtful or offensive, it's often not really about us at all. People act based on their perceptions, their struggles, and their history. It's like everyone is moving through the world wearing a unique pair of glasses that color how they see everything around them, including us. Now, think about a time when you might have snapped at someone or acted in a way that wasn't really you. Chances are you were dealing with something else entirely. Stress, fear, insecurity, or maybe you were just having a really bad day. Now, if we can recognize this in ourselves, why not extend that same understanding to others? This perspective shift, which Seneca advocates, is about empathy, but it's also about self-preservation. When we stop taking things personally, we detach ourselves from the unnecessary pain that comes with believing everyone's actions are about us. It's like setting down a heavy burden we've been carrying around. Suddenly, we can breathe, move, and live more freely. But how do we actually do this? How do we stop taking things personally, especially when our emotions are already flared up? It starts with a pause. When you feel that rush of hurt or anger, just pause. Take a breath. Remind yourself of Seneca's words. This might not be about me at all. This simple act of pausing can prevent a reactive spiral and give you space to choose a more reasoned response. It's also about building resilience and understanding. The more we remind ourselves that we don't have the full picture of what someone else is going through, the less likely we are to be wounded by their actions or words. And when we do get hurt, because it will happen, we can treat it as a practice ground for our Stoic principles. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can it help me grow? In embracing this Stoic approach, we not only protect our peace of mind, but also open ourselves up to more compassionate and meaningful interactions. We become less reactive, more understanding, and, in a way, more connected to the humanity in everyone we meet. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about patience. He saw it not just as a passive waiting, but as an active engagement with the present moment, whatever it may hold. To him, being patient was akin to donning armor against the trials of life, transforming potential irritants into lessons of endurance and calm. Think about it. When you're stuck in traffic, there's a kind of freedom in accepting that you can't move faster than the cars in front of you. It's an opportunity to listen to your favorite music, an audiobook, or simply to your own thoughts. This shift doesn't change the traffic, but it changes how you experience it, turning a frustrating wait into a moment of peace or even enjoyment. Similarly, When dealing with a challenging person, imagine if, instead of reacting with irritation or anger, you responded with patience. You give yourself a moment to understand where they're coming from, to recognize that their behavior is more about their own struggles than anything else. This doesn't mean you accept bad behavior, but you respond to it with composure and thoughtfulness, which often diffuses tension and leads to better outcomes for everyone involved. Patience, in the Stoic sense, is about embracing the moment rather than fighting against it. It's about seeing the delay, the annoyance, or the obstacle as part of the path, not a deviation from it. Every moment of impatience is a chance to practice, to deepen your understanding of Stoicism, and to cultivate a serene mind. But how can we cultivate this patience in our everyday lives? It starts with awareness. Recognize when impatience is starting to bubble up inside you. Then pause. Take a deep breath. Remember Marcus Aurelius and the countless others who have faced far greater trials with patience and dignity. Another practical step is to adjust your expectations. Often our impatience stems from things not going according to our plan. But if we remind ourselves that we're not in control of everything, only our response to things, we can set more realistic expectations and find peace in the unfolding of life. However it happens, view each test of patience as an opportunity, not a hurdle. Like a muscle that gets stronger with exercise, your capacity for patience grows every time you choose it over frustration or anger. And the rewards are immense. A calmer mind, less stress, and a reputation as someone who is composed and thoughtful, even in challenging situations. Epictetus knew a thing or two about adversity and integrity. He didn't just lecture about Stoicism in the classroom. He lived it every single day, and he encouraged his students to do the same, to embody their philosophy. It's about making your life a testament to your values, letting your actions speak louder than your words. Imagine the ripple effect you can create by simply living out your principles. When you show kindness, even in difficult situations, others take notice. It might inspire them to act kindly in turn. When you demonstrate integrity, refusing to compromise on your values, it sets a standard for those around you. And when you face adversity with resilience, maintaining a calm and composed demeanor, it can be a beacon of hope for others who are struggling. But how do we actually do this? How do we become an example for others? It starts with self-reflection. Take a moment to consider the values that are truly important to you. What principles do you want to guide your life? Once you have clarity on these, strive to align your actions with your values. It's about making conscious choices every day that reflect who you are and what you stand for. Of course, nobody's perfect. We all have our moments of weakness, our lapses in judgment. But being an example isn't about perfection, it's about striving. It's about making a genuine effort to live according to your ideals, even when it's hard. And when you do slip up, it's about owning your mistakes, learning from them, and moving forward with even greater resolve. Another key aspect of being an example is consistency. It's not just about doing the right thing when it's easy or when people are watching. It's about being consistent in your values, whether you're in the spotlight or alone. This consistency builds trust and respect, and it's what truly sets an example for others. Let's take inspiration from Epictetus and strive to be living embodiments of our philosophy. Whether it's kindness, integrity, resilience, or any other virtue, let's bring it to life in our actions. Remember, you have the power to inspire, to influence, and to make a positive impact on the world around you. Be the change you wish to see, and watch how your example can light the way for others. It seems everywhere we turn, social media, news outlets, even our daily interactions, there's a barrage of negativity, criticism, and yes, the haters. It can be exhausting, but they don't have to dictate your happiness. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about maintaining one's inner peace amidst external turmoil. He spoke of the inner citadel, a fortress within us that no external negativity can breach unless we allow it. This concept is incredibly empowering. Think about it. You have the power to create and maintain a space of peace and calm within you, no matter what storms rage outside. So, how do we tune out the haters and keep our inner citadel secure? First and foremost, it's about recognizing what is and isn't within our control. We can't control what others say or do, the harsh comments they leave, the unkind rumors they spread. But we can control our response. We can choose not to engage, not to internalize their negativity, and not to let it disturb our peace. Another key Stoic strategy is to reflect on the intention behind the negativity. Often those who lash out are struggling with their own issues, insecurities, or pain. Understanding this doesn't excuse their behavior, but it can help us respond with compassion rather than defensiveness or anger. It allows us to see their negativity as their burden, not ours. Practicing mindfulness is also a powerful tool in maintaining our inner citadel. When faced with negativity, take a moment to pause and breathe. Remind yourself that this moment of negativity is just that, a moment. It will pass. You don't have to let it define your day or your mood. By staying present and grounded, you can keep your inner peace intact. It's also helpful to surround yourself with positivity, engage with uplifting content, connect with supportive people, fill your environment with things that bring you joy and peace. Remember, you have the power to curate your own life experience. Choose positivity and let the negativity slide by. Remember that tuning out the haters is not about building walls or becoming indifferent. It's about choosing where to focus your energy and attention. It's about preserving your inner peace and strength so you can face challenges with grace and resilience. Stoicism might seem all about rationality, but there's a big place for love too. Seneca tells us that love isn't just something you feel, it's something you do. It's an active, vibrant energy that you put out into the world, and it has this beautiful boomerang effect. The more love you give, the more you find it coming back to you, often from the most unexpected places. But what does it mean? To be full of love, in a Stoic sense, is about approaching every interaction, every person, with goodwill and benevolence. It's seeing the humanity in everyone, even those who are challenging to deal with. It means wishing well for others, genuinely desiring their happiness and well-being, regardless of how they feel about you. This isn't always easy, especially when faced with negativity or hostility. But it's a powerful stance that can transform not just your own life, but also the lives of those around you. Being full of love also means practicing forgiveness and understanding. Everyone we meet is fighting their own battle, carrying their own burdens. By choosing love and compassion, we lighten their load and our own. We connect on a deeper level, recognizing our shared humanity. Moreover, Stoicism teaches us that love extends beyond just our relationships with people. It's about cultivating a loving relationship with life itself, embracing all its twists and turns with open arms. It's finding joy in the simple things, appreciating the beauty around us, and engaging with the world in a meaningful, positive way. So how can we cultivate this loving, Stoic approach to life? Start small. Offer a kind word to a stranger. Show appreciation to your loved ones. Practice gratitude daily. Reflect on your actions and intentions, asking yourself if they're rooted in love and kindness. And when you encounter negativity or unkindness, try to respond with understanding and compassion. Remember, being full of love isn't about being naive or ignoring the harsh realities of the world. It's about choosing to respond to those realities with love rather than fear or anger. It's a courageous, powerful choice that can lead to true contentment and connection. How often do we find ourselves scrolling through social media, looking at someone else's highlight reel, and feeling like we just don't measure up? But here's a Stoic antidote to this pervasive issue. Focus on your own path, your own growth, and your own achievements. The Stoics, with their profound wisdom, teach us that the only comparison worth making is with who we were yesterday, not with someone else today. This idea is so liberating when you really think about it. Imagine freeing yourself from the endless cycle of looking over your shoulder, worrying about what everyone else is doing and feeling inadequate. The Stoics offer us a different perspective. Your journey is yours alone, rich with its own challenges, triumphs, and lessons. By embracing this, you honor your unique path and cultivate a sense of self-worth that isn't reliant on external validation. But how do we put this into practice, especially in a world that constantly urges us to compare and compete? First, it's about becoming mindful of when we're making these comparisons. Notice that twinge of envy or self-doubt when you see someone else's success or happiness. Acknowledge it, and then gently remind yourself, my path is different, and that's okay. Next, actively celebrate your own achievements, no matter how small they may seem. Did you tackle a difficult task at work? Did you show kindness to a stranger? Did you make time for self-care? These are all victories worth acknowledging. By celebrating your own progress, you reinforce the idea that your journey is valid and valuable. Another powerful Stoic practice is reflecting on your personal growth. Take time to look back at where you were a year ago, 5 years ago, or even a decade ago. Recognize the strides you've made, the obstacles you've overcome, and the lessons you've learned. This reflection not only boosts your self-esteem, but also deepens your appreciation for your unique journey. And remember, the Stoics didn't just talk about personal achievements in terms of career success or material gain. They valued wisdom, virtue, resilience, and inner peace. So when you measure your progress, consider these deeper, more meaningful markers of growth. Are you more patient than you used to be? More compassionate? More resilient? These are the kinds of achievements that truly reflect your growth as a person. In the whirlwind of our daily lives, it's so easy to get caught up in the minutiae, the endless to-do lists and the relentless pursuit of our personal goals. But Stoicism, with its profound insights into the human condition, reminds us of what's genuinely important, the connections we share with the people we love. Stoicism might seem like it's all about self-discipline and resilience, but at its heart, it's deeply concerned with community and relationships. The Stoics understood that our time on this earth is precious and not to be taken for granted. They encourage us to live in the present, to appreciate the here and now, and to value the people who add meaning and joy to our lives. But how do we put this into practice, especially when life gets busy and we get distracted? It starts with mindfulness, with making a conscious effort to be present when we're with our loved ones. It means really listening when they speak, engaging with them fully, and showing them through our actions that they matter to us. Expressing gratitude is another key aspect. It's about letting our loved ones know that we appreciate them, not just in grand gestures, but in the everyday small moments that truly define our relationships. A simple thank you, a note of appreciation, or a kind word can mean so much. It acknowledges the value of the other person and the contribution they make to our lives. And then there's expressing love, which can be done in countless ways, tailored to the individual and the relationship. It might be spending quality time together, offering support during challenging times, or sharing joys and successes. Love, in the Stoic sense, is active and engaged. It's about showing up for people, being there in the moments that matter. Making time for our loved ones is perhaps the most crucial part. In our busy lives, it's all too easy to let relationships slide, to assume that people will always be there. But the Stoic reminder of the impermanence of life urges us to prioritize our relationships, to carve out time for those who matter most, even when it feels like there are a million other things demanding our attention. Cherishing our loved ones is about recognizing the irreplaceable role they play in our lives and honoring that with our time, our attention, and our affection. It's about building and nurturing those bonds, knowing that they are the true source of richness and meaning in our lives. Remember that the journey of life is one we share with those we hold dear. Cherish every moment, embrace every opportunity to show love, and never underestimate the power of presence. In a world that never sleeps, where every moment is documented and shared, there's a profound power hidden in silence and obscurity. It might seem counterintuitive, but sometimes the best way to truly connect with ourselves and forge a path forward is by stepping back from the limelight. This isn't just about taking a break. It's about strategically withdrawing from the noise to build something extraordinary in the shadows. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that has surged back into relevance, teaches us the value of internal focus and resilience. By embracing periods of silence, we align more closely with our goals, shield ourselves from the distractions of external approval, and prepare ourselves for a transformation that's deeply rooted and genuinely impactful. Today, we're going to explore how disappearing isn't just for magicians or the introverted. It's a deliberate, powerful strategy that can lead to incredible personal growth and clarity. Whether you're looking to reinvent yourself, focus on a new goal, or simply find peace in a turbulent world, the lessons we delve into today will show you how turning down the volume of the world helps us to amplify our inner voice. Join me as we unpack the art of vanishing, not from the world, but into ourselves, and how this Stoic practice can lead to a life of contentment and achievement far beyond what the eye can see. If you appreciate this deep dive into transforming your life with Stoic wisdom, a simple favor I ask is to hit the subscribe button. And please, don't skip any part of the video to ensure you get the full breadth of insights we're going to explore together. Let's get started. First off, let's talk about silence. Silence is not just golden, it's transformative. Embracing quietude is more than merely refraining from speech. It's about choosing what to share and with whom, very carefully. In our everyday interactions, it's incredibly easy to fall into the trap of oversharing. From the mundane details of our daily routines to our loftiest aspirations. However, when we broadcast every aspect of our lives, we open ourselves up to external influences that can cloud our judgment and sway our direction. By keeping certain details to ourselves, we maintain control over our narrative and protect our mental space from noise and clutter. This approach is deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy, which values the power of self-mastery and control. Stoics believe that true freedom comes from within, and that managing our perceptions and reactions can lead to profound peace and effectiveness. So, when you choose to hold back from sharing every detail of your life, you're not just avoiding gossip or the potential misinterpretation of your words. You're also making a strategic decision to keep your focus sharp and your intentions pure. This selective sharing helps to fortify your goals against the fluctuations of public opinion and keeps you anchored to your true purpose. It's about crafting a life that aligns with your deepest values, not one that's continuously reshaped by every passing comment or criticism. The Stoics teach us that true strength and freedom come from within. This means valuing our own opinions and judgments above those of others, not out of arrogance, but as a form of self-respect and self-sufficiency. It's about assessing ourselves through our internal lens and criteria, not through the fluctuating and often unreliable external feedback loop. Why is this important? When we depend too heavily on the approval or disapproval of others, we become like leaves in the wind, unstable and reactive to every gust. By anchoring our self-worth in our own reasoned judgments, we cultivate a stable core. This stability is what allows us to navigate life's challenges with equanimity and focus. We begin to act not out of a desire to please or conform, but from a deep, consistent place of personal integrity and understanding. This doesn't mean we disregard the feelings or opinions of others. Rather, we weigh them against our values and reason. Stoicism doesn't advocate for emotional coldness, but recommends a judicious balance, where we listen to others yet are not swayed unless their reasoning aligns with our deeply held beliefs and values. It's about creating a mental fortress where the only opinions that breach the walls are those that have been scrutinized and found beneficial to our growth and well-being. Prioritizing self-assessment helps to mute the external noise that often clouds our judgments. This clarity is liberating. It frees up mental energy that was once consumed by worrying about how others perceive us, allowing us to focus more fully on our goals and actions. It fosters a sense of authentic living that is incredibly rewarding because each step you take is aligned with your true self. In a world where sharing every detail of our lives has become the norm, there is tremendous power in secrecy, especially when you're embarking on significant personal or professional projects. The Stoic philosophy advocates for action over proclamation, teaching us that true merit lies in what we accomplish, not in what we promise. Keeping your plans close to your chest is not about fostering a mysterious persona. It's about protecting your focus and energy. Every time details of your ambitions leak out, it's like small cracks forming in the foundation of your intent. Each crack might seem minor, but collectively, they can significantly weaken your resolve and distract from your purpose. When others are aware of your intentions, it opens the door for external opinions, doubts, and even sabotage, whether intentional or subconscious. Moreover, secrecy amplifies your commitment to your goals. By not broadcasting your plans, you avoid the premature satisfaction that public acknowledgement can bring. Studies have shown that when we announce our goals, we are often rewarded with premature praise that can diminish our motivation to see the plan through to completion. Stoicism teaches us to derive satisfaction from the act of doing and the personal fulfillment of seeing results, rather than from the accolades that might come from simply stating intentions. Additionally, keeping plans to yourself aligns with the Stoic practice of focusing on internal validation rather than external approval. It encourages a reflective and deliberate approach to your ambitions. You become more thoughtful in your actions and decisions because you are not influenced by the immediate reactions of others. This inward focus is crucial for deep, meaningful progress and aligns with the Stoic ideal of self-sufficiency. Whether you're advancing in your personal development, experiencing financial gains, or enhancing a skill, the journey you're on is deeply personal and inherently valuable. In the Stoic philosophy, progress is not a means to an end, but an end in itself. The true value lies not in the accolades or recognition that may come from your achievements, but in the personal growth and the virtues you develop along the way. Revealing your progress can inadvertently open the floodgates to external influences that might skew your perception or dilute your focus. For instance, sharing your achievements can sometimes lead to envy or unwanted attention from others. While some may offer genuine praise, others might project their insecurities or competitiveness, which can create an environment filled with negative energy and potential distractions. This is why Stoicism teaches us to appreciate and protect our inner peace and progress from the potentially corrosive effects of public scrutiny. Moreover, keeping your progress private allows you to savor your achievements without the external pressure of living up to others' expectations. It helps maintain that crucial internal validation where you measure success by your standards and growth rather than by the applause or approval of others. This self-referential approach is not only liberating, but also aligns with the Stoic ideal of self-sufficiency and resilience. You become less dependent on external validation and more focused on the intrinsic rewards of your efforts. Additionally, privacy in your progress nurtures a reflective and humble approach to personal growth. It encourages you to continually look inward, assess your development, and make adjustments based on your self-evaluation rather than external feedback. This introspection is a vital component of Stoic practice, fostering a deeper connection with your core self and ensuring that your advancements are both meaningful and aligned with your ultimate life goals. Inevitably, along your journey, you'll encounter setbacks and challenges. How you deal with these can fundamentally shape your path forward. The Stoic philosophy offers a powerful perspective here. Embrace your failures privately. This isn't about hiding your struggles out of shame or fear of judgment. It's about understanding and utilizing these experiences as vital ingredients for growth. Stoicism teaches us to see every obstacle as an opportunity to practice virtues such as resilience, courage, and persistence. By handling your struggles internally, you turn inward to reflect on these experiences deeply. This private contemplation allows you to extract valuable lessons without the external noise of pity or unsolicited advice. When you deal with your failures in solitude, you are not distracted by having to defend your actions or by the need to maintain a certain image. Instead, you can honestly assess what went wrong and why, which empowers you to make more informed and deliberate choices in the future. Moreover, embracing failures privately aligns with the Stoic idea of focusing on what you can control. You might not be able to control the outcome of every endeavor, but you can control your reactions and your mindset when setbacks occur. Instead of looking outward for validation or commiseration, look inward. Ask yourself what this failure teaches you, how it can contribute to your character, and how it can refine your strategies moving forward. This internal processing of failures builds mental toughness and independence, qualities that are essential for anyone striving to lead a life governed by Stoic principles. It strengthens your resolve as you come to realize that your path is yours to shape, regardless of external circumstances. Each failure, when embraced silently and wisely, builds a layer of resilience and fortitude, equipping you better for future challenges. As you step into the silence, the first task is to crystallize your objectives. What do you aim to accomplish in this period of intentional quietude? Setting clear, tangible goals is not merely an exercise in thought. It's an essential part of the journey towards self-improvement and true personal transformation. Whether your focus is on learning a new language, enhancing your physical health, or launching a new venture, the specificity of your goals will serve as your North Star, guiding every step you take. Stoicism teaches us that the path to virtue and inner peace is paved with purposeful action. The Stoics didn't just endure life's challenges, they actively sought to overcome them by setting clear, actionable. This philosophy underscores the importance of having a well-defined target. Knowing precisely what you want to achieve gives your actions direction and meaning. It turns abstract aspirations into concrete plans, making them more attainable. Moreover, having a specific goal in mind allows you to measure your progress accurately. This measurement isn't just about reaching milestones, but about reflecting on the growth that each step brings. Every small achievement on the way to your larger goal is a testament to your commitment and a chance to cultivate virtues like discipline, perseverance, and resilience, key tenets of Stoic thought. When you pick a target, you're doing more than just setting a goal. You're mapping out a pathway for your personal evolution. This targeted approach ensures that every effort you make and every hour you spend is infused with purpose. It aligns perfectly with the Stoic belief in living deliberately. In the quiet solitude of your disappearance from the noise of the world, your clear, focused goals become beacons of light, keeping you oriented and motivated, no matter the obstacles you face. Once you have set your sights on a clear target, the next step is to align every aspect of your life with achieving that goal. This isn't just about occasional effort. It involves a fundamental restructuring of your daily life to make your ambitions not merely an aspect of your life, but the core of it. If your goal is to enhance your fitness, consider the practicality of living close to a gym or integrating physical activities into your daily routine that reinforce this commitment. If it's about acquiring knowledge, transform your living space into a haven of learning filled with books, documentaries, and access to online courses. Stoicism teaches us that discipline is not about restriction, but about aligning our actions with our true values. The Stoics view discipline as a form of self-love, a way to honor oneself by living in accordance with one's principles. By structuring your life around your goals, you practice this high form of self-discipline daily. This isn't just about filling your time with activities that push you toward your goals. It's about crafting a lifestyle that is wholly integrated with your objectives, ensuring that every hour contributes to your broader vision. Effective time management plays a crucial role in this process. It's about prioritizing activities that drive you toward your goal and cutting out the noise and distractions that divert you from your path. This focused dedication is what turns ordinary endeavors into extraordinary achievements. It's about making each day a building block for your success, where no moment is wasted and every action has purpose. Living this way requires a deep commitment and can be challenging, but it is immensely rewarding. As you align more closely with your goals, you'll find that your efforts start to feed into a larger momentum. This isn't just about reaching a destination, it's about becoming the kind of person who achieves these goals. Stoicism doesn't just encourage us to endure, it urges us to transform endurance into a dynamic, purpose-driven way of life. Embracing this lifestyle means more than just adhering to a new routine. It's about fundamentally loving the process of transformation itself, including the discipline and the solitude it entails. Stoicism, with its deep roots in mastering the self, teaches us to cherish the present moment and find contentment within our current circumstances, even as we strive for greater achievements. This mindset shift is essential and profound. It requires you to view each day, each challenge, and each moment of solitude not as hurdles but as opportunities to grow and reinforce your commitment to your goals. Stoicism doesn't merely manage perceptions, it transforms them. It encourages us to see the beauty in the process and the strength in what might often feel like solitary endeavors. By learning to appreciate the quiet moments of effort and reflection, you align more closely with Stoic ideals that value inner peace and resilience over external rewards. Reprogramming your mind also means cultivating a mindset that does not shy away from discomfort. Stoics believe that growth often comes from facing and embracing challenges head-on. In this transformative phase, you learn to derive joy from what might previously have been considered arduous tasks. This reprogramming turns discipline into a source of happiness because you know that each disciplined action takes you one step closer to your goal. Moreover, this new mindset encourages you to live intentionally, focusing on what truly matters and discarding what does not align with your goals. It's about making peace with the fact that while the future holds promise, the present holds the keys to that future. You start to see that true contentment comes not from reaching a distant goal, but from knowing that you are currently exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you need to do. Adopting this Stoic way of thinking reshapes not just your actions, but your entire outlook on life. It shifts your focus from outcomes to the quality of your daily actions. This shift is crucial for genuine, lasting change because it builds a foundation of habits and attitudes that will sustain not just the achievement of one goal, but the continual pursuit of personal excellence. Initially, the idea of disappearing was about retreating from the public eye to focus on self-improvement, away from the distractions and pressures of external expectations. However, as you progress and evolve, you might discover that the need to step back into the spotlight isn't as compelling as you anticipated. This isn't a sign of failure, but a profound realization about the nature of true transformation. Stoicism teaches us that the worth of our actions and our growth should not be measured by external accolades, but by the internal peace and contentment they bring. If you've genuinely transformed, integrating the principles and practices that have reshaped your life, you'll find that the quiet satisfaction of knowing you have evolved into your better self is far more rewarding than any public recognition. This shift in perspective is a hallmark of deep, meaningful change. This process of reappearing then becomes less about making a grand entrance back into society and more about seamlessly integrating your new self into your everyday. It's not a moment of triumph broadcasted to elicit admiration, but a subtle, continuous expression of the new principles and insights that now guide your life. Your transformation becomes visible not through explicit displays, but through the quality of your actions and the serenity of your demeanor. Moreover, Stoicism reminds us that external recognition is fleeting. Today's accolades can easily become tomorrow's forgotten news. What remains, what endures, is the sense of fulfillment and self-contentment from knowing you live true to your values and capabilities. This enduring contentment becomes the true reward for your efforts, far surpassing the ephemeral satisfaction of external validation. Therefore, as you consider reappearing, remember that your transformation is an ongoing process. You are forever changed, not just for a moment, but for a continuous journey of self-evolution. Each day presents a new opportunity to live out the truths you've embraced. The need to reappear should never overshadow the greater need to remain authentic to your transformed self, living out the Stoic virtues of wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. It's a harsh reality, but some people in our lives take pleasure in causing harm and chaos. Think about it. You could be sharing moments, trusting someone, only to discover they are the very source of your turmoil. Today, we dive deep into a topic that's as fascinating as it is frightening, recognizing the signs you're dealing with an evil person. Whether it's a colleague, a friend, or even a family member, these individuals can be masters of deception, hiding their true nature behind charm and charisma. Today, we're not just exploring this dark side of human behavior out of curiosity. Understanding these signs can be life-changing. The Stoics believed in the power of perception and the importance of living a life guided by reason and virtue. By identifying and understanding these toxic traits, we can protect our peace of mind and cultivate healthier relationships. staying true to the principles of wisdom and self-control. Stay with us as we uncover 5 telltale signs of an evil person. By the end of this video, you'll not only be better equipped to spot these behaviors, but also learn practical ways to safeguard your mental health and well-being. And if you appreciate what we're doing here, a simple, free favor I'll ask from you is to hit the subscribe button. Please don't skip any part of the video. You won't want to miss our special bonus section, where I'll share an effective strategy for setting firm boundaries with these individuals. Let's embark on this journey of self-awareness and resilience together. Number 1, charming and charismatic at first. When we talk about people who seem charming and charismatic at first, it's important to remember that appearances can be deceiving. These individuals often have a way of lighting up a room, making everyone around them feel special and valued. They know exactly what to say to make you feel like you've just made a new best friend. At first glance, they seem like the perfect person, witty, engaging, and seemingly interested in your life. It's easy to get swept up in their charm, thinking you've found someone truly special. However, the Stoics teach us to look beyond the surface and seek the truth through rational thought and observation. Over time, you might start to notice little cracks in their facade. Maybe they always need to be the center of attention, overshadowing others in social settings. They might talk over you, interrupt you, or even subtly put you down in front of others. These aren't just quirks or signs of an extroverted personality. They're red flags. The Stoics would advise us to observe these behaviors with a clear mind, unclouded by the initial excitement of their charisma. Imagine being at a party where this person is the life of the event, telling jokes and captivating the crowd. At first, it feels great to be in their orbit, but as the evening progresses, you realize they're dominating every conversation, making everything about themselves. When you try to share something about your life, they quickly redirect the topic back to them. This is where the principle of apatheia, a state of being undisturbed by external things, comes in handy. By staying emotionally balanced, you can see through their charming act and recognize the self-centered nature underneath. It's also crucial to pay attention to how they react when things don't go their way. A person who is genuinely kind and caring will handle disappointments and disagreements with grace and understanding. But someone who is merely playing a role to gain your trust might quickly become angry or defensive. They might lash out or try to manipulate the situation to regain control. According to Stoic wisdom, such reactions are clear indicators of a lack of virtuous character. Marcus Aurelius reminds us to be wary of those who display signs of anger and manipulation, as these are not the traits of a rational and virtuous person. The key here is to take your time and trust your instincts. The Stoics believed in the power of observation and the importance of not rushing to judgment based on first impressions. Epictetus taught that we should carefully evaluate the character of those we allow into our inner circle. So, if someone seems too good to be true, give yourself the space to observe their actions over time. Notice how they treat others, especially when they think no one is watching. True character is revealed in how a person behaves when they aren't trying to impress anyone. Remember, not everyone who seems charming and charismatic has good intentions. Some people use their charm as a tool for manipulation. By staying grounded and mindful, you can protect yourself from being taken in by a superficial facade. Stay true to the principles of wisdom and discernment, and you'll be better equipped to navigate these complex social interactions. Another crucial sign to watch out for: a lack of empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. It's what allows us to connect deeply with those around us, to offer support when it's needed, and to create meaningful relationships. However, there are individuals out there who seem to completely lack this essential human trait. They don't care about how their actions or words affect others, and this can have a devastating impact on those around them. The Stoics believed in the importance of compassion and understanding as fundamental virtues. Marcus Aurelius often spoke about the interconnectedness of humanity and the need to consider the well-being of others as part of our own well-being. So, when we encounter someone who shows a blatant disregard for the feelings of others, it's a serious red flag. Imagine you're sharing something deeply personal with a friend, hoping for some comfort or understanding. Instead of showing any genuine concern, they brush off your feelings or even mock your vulnerability. This lack of empathy can make you feel isolated and misunderstood. It's not just about them not being there for you in tough times. It's also about them failing to share in your joy or celebrate your successes. A person who lacks empathy won't cheer for your achievements. They might even undermine them or take credit themselves. This behavior is not just limited to personal relationships. Consider a boss who pushes their employees to the brink, showing no concern for their well-being. They might demand long hours without fair compensation, ignore requests for time off, or publicly criticize employees in a way that's meant to humiliate rather than constructively guide. This creates a toxic work environment where people feel undervalued and stressed. The Stoics would advise us to maintain our inner peace and integrity in such situations, recognizing that the lack of empathy in others is a reflection of their character, not ours. Furthermore, a lack of empathy can lead to more sinister behaviors. People who cannot empathize with others may engage in actions that are outright cruel or without any sense of guilt or remorse. They might lie, cheat, or even inflict physical harm without a second thought about the pain they're causing. The Stoic philosopher Seneca emphasized the importance of kindness and justice, teaching that our actions should always reflect our inner virtue. When someone lacks empathy, they're fundamentally disconnected from these values. Lack of empathy is also evident in smaller, everyday interactions. For example, you might notice that someone constantly interrupts conversations to talk about themselves, shows little interest in what others have to say, or fails to offer help when it's clearly needed. These might seem like minor annoyances at first, but they add up to a pattern of behavior that reveals a deeper issue. The Stoics would remind us to be observant and discerning, understanding that these small signs are indicative of a person's true character. If you find yourself dealing with someone who consistently lacks empathy, it's important to set boundaries to protect your own mental and emotional health. The Stoics believed in the importance of maintaining our own well-being and not allowing the negativity of others to disturb our peace. You have the right to distance yourself from those who drain your energy and bring you down. Another major sign of an evil person is manipulation. Manipulation occurs when someone uses deceit or cunning tactics to control or influence others to get what they want. It's a subtle, often insidious behavior that can be incredibly damaging to those on the receiving end. Manipulators are skilled at twisting situations, making you question your reality and bending your will to suit their needs. This can leave you feeling confused, powerless, and unsure of your own judgments. Let's think about manipulation from a Stoic perspective. The Stoics valued clarity of thought and the ability to see things as they truly are. They taught that our perceptions should be grounded in reality and that we should remain steadfast in our principles, no matter the external pressures. When someone manipulates you, they are attempting to cloud your perception and distort reality, making it difficult for you to stay true to these Stoic ideals. The common form of manipulation is gaslighting, where the manipulator tries to make you doubt your own memory, perception, or sanity. They might deny that certain events happened, or they might twist your words and actions to make you feel at fault. For example, let's say you confront a friend about something hurtful they said. Instead of acknowledging it, they might turn the tables, accusing you of being overly sensitive or misremembering the situation. This can erode your confidence and make you reliant on the manipulator's version of reality. Manipulators are also adept at playing the victim. They might guilt-trip you into doing things you don't want to do by making you feel responsible for their happiness or well-being. You might have a friend who constantly complains about their problems, expecting you to drop everything to help them, yet they are never there for you in return. They might say things like, "If you were really my friend, you'd do this for me," making you feel obligated to comply. The Stoics, especially Epictetus, emphasize the importance of understanding what is within our control and what is not. We cannot control others' actions or emotions, only our response to them. Consider how a manipulator might use flattery or charm to get their way. At first, this can feel great. They might shower you with compliments and make you feel special. But over time, you might notice that their praise comes with strings attached. They might compliment you when they want something from you, or when they need you to do something for them. This can make you feel like you owe them, or that you need to live up to their expectations to maintain their approval. The Stoics would remind us that true virtue and self-worth come from within, not from the fleeting approval of others. Manipulation can also take the form of isolation. A manipulative person might try to cut you off from your friends and family, making you more dependent on them. They might say things like, "Your friends don't really care about you," or "Your family doesn't understand you like I do." This tactic makes it easier for them to control you because you become more reliant on them for support and validation. The Stoics believed in maintaining strong, supportive relationships with others, recognizing that we are social beings who thrive in community. Isolation goes against these principles, as it weakens our support network and makes us more vulnerable to manipulation. Financial manipulation is another tactic used by evil people. They might borrow money, never repay it, or they might control your finances to limit your independence. For instance, a partner might insist on managing all the money in the relationship, making you ask for permission to spend anything. This control over finances can make it difficult for you to leave the relationship or assert your independence. The Stoics would encourage us to seek self-sufficiency and independence, ensuring that we are not unduly influenced or controlled by others. Recognizing manipulation for what it is can be challenging, especially when you care about the person involved. The Stoics teach us to be vigilant and discerning, to see things clearly and to act with integrity. If you suspect someone is manipulating you, take a step back and assess the situation objectively. Are they consistently prioritizing their needs over yours? Do they make you feel guilty or unsure of yourself? Are they trying to control aspects of your life or isolate you from others? It's important to set firm boundaries with manipulators and stand your ground. Communicate clearly and assertively about what you will and will not tolerate. Remember, you have the right to your own thoughts, feelings, and actions. The Stoics remind us that while we cannot control how others behave, we can control how we respond. By maintaining our inner strength and clarity, we can protect ourselves from the harmful effects of manipulation and stay true to our values. One of the most glaring signs of an evil person: controlling behavior. This goes beyond mere preferences or quirks. It's about someone who seeks to dominate every aspect of your life, leaving little room for your own autonomy and decisions. Controlling individuals often disguise their behavior as concern or care, but underneath, it's about power and control. The Stoics, who valued personal freedom and self-control, would see this behavior as fundamentally opposed to living a virtuous life. Controlling behavior can manifest in many ways. For instance, you might have a friend who insists on always choosing where you go and what you do together. While it might seem harmless at first, over time you start to realize that your preferences and opinions are consistently ignored or overridden. They might say things like, "I know what's best for us," Or, you'll have more fun if you just listen to me. This isn't about mutual decision-making. It's about one person exerting their will over another. In relationships, controlling behavior can become even more dangerous. A partner might monitor your whereabouts, demand constant updates on your activities, and even dictate who you can and cannot see. They might go through your phone, check your messages, or insist on knowing all your passwords. This kind of surveillance and micromanagement can make you feel trapped and anxious, constantly walking on eggshells to avoid conflict. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, emphasize the importance of maintaining your own inner freedom and autonomy, regardless of external pressures. Control can also come in the form of financial manipulation. A controlling partner or family member might take charge of all financial decisions, doling out money as they see fit, and keeping you financially dependent on them. They might say, "I handle the money because you're not good with finances." Or, "It's easier if I just take care of everything." This can strip you of your financial independence and make it difficult to leave the relationship or assert your own choices. The Stoics believed in self-sufficiency and managing your own resources wisely, viewing financial control as a form of enslavement that must be resisted. Another way controlling behavior shows up is through isolation. A controlling person might try to cut you off from friends and family, claiming that they're the only one who truly understands or cares about you. They might criticize your loved ones, saying things like, "Your friends don't really care about you," or "Your family is toxic." Over time, you might find yourself increasingly isolated, relying solely on the controlling person for support and companionship. The Stoics recognize the importance of community and supportive relationships, seeing isolation as detrimental to both personal growth and well-being. Controlling individuals also often use threats and intimidation to maintain their power. They might threaten to leave you, harm themselves, or even hurt you if you don't comply with their demands. This creates an environment of fear and anxiety, making it difficult to think clearly or make decisions that are best for you. The Stoics, especially Seneca, taught that we should face our fears and not allow others to intimidate us into submission. True courage and wisdom lie in standing firm against such threats and reclaiming our own power. It's important to understand that controlling behavior is about more than just wanting things done a certain way. It's about fundamentally undermining your ability to make your own choices and live your own life. The Stoics would advise us to recognize these behaviors for what they are: an attack on our autonomy and a violation of our personal freedom. By staying true to our values and maintaining our inner strength, we can resist the influence of controlling individuals and reclaim our right to live freely. If you find yourself dealing with someone who exhibits controlling behavior, it's crucial to set firm boundaries and assert your independence. Communicate clearly about your needs and limits, and don't be afraid to seek support from others who understand your situation. Remember, the Stoics teach us that we cannot control others, but we can control our own reactions and decisions. By staying grounded in our principles and valuing our own autonomy, we can protect ourselves from the harmful effects of controlling behavior and live more authentic, fulfilling lives. Another unmistakable sign of an evil person is pathological lying. This goes beyond the occasional white lie that most people tell. Pathological liars deceive constantly, often without any apparent reason. They fabricate stories, manipulate facts, and distort reality to suit their own needs or to gain an advantage over others. This behavior can be incredibly damaging to relationships, eroding trust and creating a web of deceit that's difficult to untangle. The Stoics valued truth and integrity above all else. They believed that a virtuous life was grounded in honesty and that deceit was a fundamental betrayal of one's character. Marcus Aurelius emphasized living in accordance with nature, which means aligning our actions with truth and reason. When someone lies pathologically, they are living in direct opposition to these principles, creating a false reality that benefits only themselves. Pathological lying can take many forms. It might start with small, seemingly harmless lies, like embellishing a story to make themselves look better or more interesting. Over time, these lies can escalate, covering up mistakes or wrongdoings and manipulating others to achieve their goals. A pathological liar might claim to have accomplished things they haven't, falsely take credit for others' work, or make up stories about their past to gain sympathy or admiration. This constant dishonesty creates a distorted view of reality where you can never be sure what's true and what's fabricated. Consider how a pathological liar might operate in a workplace. They might lie about their qualifications, exaggerate their contributions to projects, or spread false rumors about colleagues to sabotage them. This can create a toxic environment where trust is undermined and people are constantly on edge, unsure of who to believe. The Stoics would advise us to remain steadfast in our own integrity, not allowing ourselves to be swayed by the deceitful actions of others. Epictetus taught that we should focus on what we can control, our own thoughts and actions, and not be disturbed by the dishonesty of those around us. In personal relationships, pathological lying can be even more destructive. Imagine being in a relationship with someone who constantly lies about their whereabouts, their past, or their feelings. This behavior can make you feel insecure, anxious, and constantly questioning your own perceptions. You might find yourself doubting your memory or second-guessing your instincts, which is exactly what the liar wants. They thrive on creating confusion and instability, keeping you off balance so they can maintain control. The Stoics would remind us to trust our own judgment and not be swayed by the manipulations of others. Seneca taught that true peace comes from within, and that we should not allow the deceit of others to disturb our inner tranquility. One of the most insidious aspects of pathological lying is that it's often difficult to detect at first. Pathological liars can be incredibly convincing, telling their lies with such confidence and detail that it's hard not to believe them. They might mix truth with lies, making it even more challenging to discern what's real. This is where the Stoic principle of vigilance comes into play. We must remain observant and critical, not taking things at face value, but instead seeking the truth through careful consideration and evidence. When you catch someone in a lie, pay attention to how they react. Do they become defensive or aggressive? Do they try to turn the tables and blame you? Or do they offer a plausible explanation that seems to make sense, even if it's just another layer of deceit? A genuine person will admit to their mistakes and strive to correct them, while a pathological liar will double down on their falsehoods, weaving an even more intricate web of lies. The Stoics would counsel us to remain calm and rational in the face of such behavior, recognizing it for what it is and not allowing it to provoke us. It's also important to consider the long-term impact of pathological lying. Over time, it can erode the very foundation of trust that any relationship is built upon. Once trust is broken, it's incredibly difficult to rebuild. You might find yourself constantly suspicious, always wondering if you're being lied to again. This can lead to a toxic cycle of mistrust and resentment. The Stoics believed in the importance of building strong, honest relationships based on mutual respect and understanding. When dealing with a pathological liar, you must decide whether it's worth trying to rebuild that trust, or whether it's healthier to distance yourself from their toxic influence. If you find yourself entangled with a pathological liar, it's crucial to set firm boundaries and protect your own mental and emotional well-being. The Stoics would advise us to remain true to our own values and principles, not allowing ourselves to be dragged down by the deceit of others. Be clear about what you will and will not tolerate, and don't be afraid to walk away from a relationship or situation that is built on lies. Remember, your peace of mind and integrity are more important than maintaining a connection with someone who consistently deceives you. Now, how can you protect yourself from these harmful behaviors while maintaining your peace and integrity? Setting boundaries is one of the most crucial skills you can develop when dealing with difficult or toxic people. Boundaries are about defining what you will and will not accept in your relationships, and they are essential for protecting your mental, emotional, and even physical well-being. The Stoics, who emphasized the importance of personal integrity and inner peace, would see boundary setting as a fundamental practice for maintaining a virtuous and tranquil life. First and foremost, it's important to recognize that setting boundaries is not about being harsh or unkind. It's about respecting yourself and ensuring that others respect you as well. The Stoics believed in the importance of self-respect and living in harmony with our true nature. By setting clear boundaries, you are not only protecting yourself, but also fostering healthier interactions with others. When it comes to setting boundaries, clarity is key. You need to be specific about what behaviors you will not tolerate and communicate this clearly and assertively. For example, if you have a friend who frequently belittles you or puts you down, you might say, "I appreciate our friendship, but I won't tolerate being spoken to in a disrespectful manner. If this continues, I will have to distance myself." This approach is direct and leaves no room for misinterpretation. According to Stoic principles, this kind of clear communication helps maintain order and respect in relationships. Another important aspect of setting boundaries is consistency. It's not enough to state your boundaries once and expect others to adhere to them without reminders. You must consistently enforce your boundaries, even when it's uncomfortable or difficult. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, emphasized the importance of discipline and perseverance. By consistently upholding your boundaries, you demonstrate self-respect and teach others how to treat you. If someone repeatedly crosses your boundaries, it's a clear sign that they do not respect you or your limits, and it may be necessary to reassess the relationship. It's also important to remember that setting boundaries is not a one-time event but an ongoing process. As relationships evolve, your boundaries may need to be adjusted. For instance, in a work environment, you might need to set boundaries around your availability and workload to prevent burnout. You could say to a colleague or supervisor, "I am happy to help with this project, but I cannot take on additional tasks beyond my current responsibilities." The Stoics would advise us to balance our duties and not overextend ourselves to the detriment of our well-being. One of the most challenging aspects of setting boundaries is dealing with the pushback or resistance you might encounter. People who are used to getting their way, especially those with controlling or manipulative tendencies, may not take kindly to your newfound assertiveness. They might react with anger, guilt-tripping, or even attempts to undermine your confidence. The Stoics teach us to remain calm and steadfast in the face of such challenges. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the importance of maintaining our composure and not being swayed by the negative emotions of others. When you encounter resistance, stay firm and remind yourself that your boundaries are necessary for your well-being. In some cases, setting boundaries might mean making difficult decisions, such as distancing yourself from certain individuals or even ending relationships that are toxic or harmful. This can be a painful process, but it's essential for preserving your mental and emotional health. The Stoics would remind us that our primary responsibility is to our own virtue and well-being. Seneca often spoke about the importance of choosing our associations wisely, recognizing that the company we keep can significantly impact our character and happiness. By distancing yourself from those who consistently violate your boundaries, you are making a powerful statement about your self-worth and commitment to living a virtuous life. It's also helpful to seek support from others when setting boundaries. This could mean talking to trusted friends, family members, or a therapist about your experiences and getting their input and encouragement. Sharing your struggles and successes with boundary setting can provide you with valuable perspective and strengthen your resolve. The Stoics valued community and the support of like-minded individuals. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the interconnectedness of humanity and the importance of mutual support. By leaning on your support network, you can find the strength to uphold your boundaries and maintain your well-being. Did you know that the secret to transforming your life's biggest challenges into your greatest opportunities might have been discovered over 2,000 years ago? Imagine facing life's storms with a calm so powerful that nothing could shake your inner peace. Sounds like a superpower, right? Well, it's not just a fantasy. This ancient superpower is an age-old philosophy that's as practical today as it was in the bustling markets and marble halls of ancient Rome and Greece. Stoicism teaches us that while we can't control every aspect of our lives, we have absolute power over how we choose to react. And in today's world, where uncertainty seems to be the only certainty, these teachings could be the anchor we've all been searching for. So, whether you're dealing with stress, facing adversity, or simply looking to find more joy in the everyday, stick around. Today, we're diving deep into Stoicism, uncovering its timeless wisdom and discovering how it can transform not just the way we think, but the way we live. 1. Focusing on what's in your control. Have you ever found yourself stuck in traffic, fuming over the delay, or scrolling through your phone only to get upset over a negative comment someone left on your post? It happens to the best of us. It's almost like our day-to-day life is filled with these little tests, challenging our mood and peace of mind at every turn. But here's a game-changing perspective from the world of Stoicism that can turn all that frustration on its head. Stoicism, this incredible philosophy that dates back to ancient Greece and Rome, hands us a powerful tool, focusing on what's in our control. The great Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Think about that for a second. Traffic, bad weather, negative comments, these are all outside our control. We can't change them, no matter how much we wish we could. What we can change, however, is how we react to them. This idea isn't just ancient wisdom, it's backed by modern psychology too. Carl Jung, a giant in the field of psychology, famously stated, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." This aligns perfectly with this practice. It's about recognizing that the only real power we have is over our own reactions, thoughts, and actions. Let's break it down a bit. Say you're in that traffic jam, late for an important meeting. You can spend that time stewing in anger, honking your horn, and stressing out, which, let's be honest, won't make the cars ahead move any faster. Or you can take a deep breath, accept the situation, and maybe use the time to listen to a podcast, an audiobook, or simply enjoy some music. The traffic hasn't changed, but your response to it has. And with that shift, your stress levels drop, and your day looks a bit brighter. This principle of focusing on what you can control extends far beyond just dealing with traffic or weather. It applies to our personal goals, our reactions to others, and our approach to obstacles in life. As Marcus Aurelius, another Stoic heavyweight, reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. So, next time you find yourself getting worked up over something outside your control, remember these wise words from our friends. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If it's not, let it go. Focus on your reaction, your mindset, and your actions. This simple shift can have a profound impact on your stress levels and overall happiness. It's not always easy, but it's worth practicing every day. Remember, it's about progress, not perfection. And as we learn to focus more on what's in our control, we'll find ourselves not just surviving life's challenges, but thriving in spite of them. 2. Embracing obstacles as opportunities. Stoicism teaches us the art of embracing obstacles as opportunities. It sounds counterintuitive, right? Most of us are programmed to view obstacles as just that, barriers to our success and happiness. But Stoics like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus flip this narrative on its head. They tell us, when life throws you a curveball, instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What can I learn?" This is a game changer. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, penned in his personal writings, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." What he means here is that every obstacle, no matter how daunting, not only tests our resilience, but also teaches us valuable lessons. It's about finding the silver lining in tough situations and using it to fuel our growth. This perspective isn't just ancient philosophy, it's backed by modern thinkers too. The famous psychologist Carl Jung said, "What you resist persists." By fighting against obstacles, we give them more power over us. But by accepting and learning from them, we can overcome them. This mindset is about transforming challenges into stepping stones towards becoming stronger and wiser. Let's make it practical. Say you're facing rejection from job applications. It's easy to fall into a spiral of self-pity and doubt. But what if you viewed each rejection as feedback? Maybe there's a skill you need to improve, or a new strategy for your job search. That shift in perspective can turn a series of rejections into a path for professional development. Another example is personal conflicts. They're uncomfortable and stressful, but they also offer a chance to practice patience, empathy, and communication skills. Every disagreement is an opportunity to understand different viewpoints and refine our conflict resolution abilities. The essence of embracing obstacles as opportunities lies in asking ourselves, what can this situation teach me? Instead of being passive victims of circumstance, we become active learners and problem solvers. This doesn't mean that facing obstacles becomes easy, but it does mean that we approach them with a mindset geared toward growth and learning. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is the heart of Stoicism. It's about seeing beyond the immediate pain or frustration of an obstacle and finding the lessons and opportunities it presents. So, when you're faced with a challenge, big or small, try to pause and reframe it. Ask yourself what you can learn from the situation and how it can make you stronger and wiser. Remember, obstacles aren't just hurdles to overcome, they're opportunities to grow. By adopting this mindset, we can navigate life's ups and downs with more grace, resilience, and wisdom. 3. Living in the present moment. It's something we hear about all the time, right? Live in the now. But what does that really mean, and why is it so important? Living in the present moment is about fully embracing and experiencing where you are at this very second, not letting your mind wander off to the worries of tomorrow or the regrets of yesterday. It's about realizing that life, with all its beauty, challenges, and surprises, happens in the now. This concept isn't new. It's been a cornerstone of philosophy, echoed by great minds like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, and reiterated by modern psychologists and thinkers. Let's start with the Stoics. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment." He understood that the power of living in the present lies in its ability to ground us, to clear our minds of distractions, and to allow us to appreciate the richness of life as it unfolds. But why is it so hard to stay present? Our minds are often cluttered with thoughts, worries about what's next, or replaying things that have already happened. This constant mental noise pulls us away from the beauty and potential of the here and now. As the famous psychologist Carl Jung put it, The least of things with a meaning is worth more in life than the greatest of things without it. Living in the present moment gives meaning to the small, everyday experiences, enriching our lives beyond measure. Aristotle talked about the importance of being mindful of the present to achieve eudaimonia, or a state of being happy, healthy, and prosperous. He believed that by focusing on the here and now, we could live a virtuous life, making the most of our human experience. So, how can we practice living in the present? It starts with mindfulness. The art of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. When you eat, savor each bite. When you walk, notice the feeling of the ground under your feet. Listen actively when someone is speaking to you, instead of planning what you're going to say next. These simple acts of mindfulness bring us back to the present, making our lives richer and more meaningful. Seneca offered this wisdom. True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. He understood that anxiety about what's to come or what has been only serves to diminish our happiness in the now. Living in the present isn't about ignoring the future or forgetting the past. It's about finding a balance where we learn from our past and plan for our future, without letting those activities consume our present. It's in this balance that we find peace and contentment. Remember, every moment is an opportunity to reset and refocus on the now. It's in the present that we live, love, and make memories. So, let's make a conscious effort to be more present in our lives. Let's cherish the now, for this moment, right here, is where life truly happens. 4. Building self-discipline. I know the word self-discipline might bring to mind images of rigid schedules and a life devoid of fun, but let's reshape that picture together. Self-discipline is not about restricting your life. It's about empowering yourself to make choices that align with your deepest values and long-term aspirations. It's choosing what's right for you, not what's easy in the moment. At its core, building self-discipline is about mastery over ourselves. It's about saying yes to things that serve us and no to things that don't, even when it's tough. Think about it, whether it's sticking to a workout routine, saving money instead of impulse buying, or turning off Netflix to focus on a project. These choices might not deliver instant gratification, but they pave the way for long-term satisfaction and success. Stoic philosophy has a lot to say about self-discipline. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This powerful statement highlights the essence of self-discipline. It's about controlling our impulses, emotions, and actions despite the external temptations and distractions that life throws our way. Seneca offers wisdom on the subject too. He advises us to be steadfast and control our desires, rather than being controlled by them. He understood that true freedom comes from within, from our ability to govern ourselves and our appetites. But why is self-discipline so critical? Aristotle, the ancient Greek philosopher, sheds light on this. He believed that we achieve excellence and virtue through habit. By practicing self-discipline, we cultivate habits that lead us toward our best selves. It's not about occasional acts of willpower, but about consistently making choices that reflect our values and goals. Building self-discipline also ties into modern psychological understanding. Carl Jung, a pioneer in psychology, emphasized the importance of integrating all aspects of our personality to live fully. This integration requires self-discipline, as we must navigate the desires of different parts of our psyche, choosing paths that contribute to our overall well-being and growth. So, how can we build self-discipline in our daily lives? Start small. Pick one area you want to improve, whether it's your diet, exercise routine, or spending habits. Set clear, achievable goals and take it one day at a time. Remember, Every time you make a choice that aligns with your goals, you're building the muscle of self-discipline. Epictetus reminds us, no great thing is created suddenly. Self-discipline is built through small, consistent actions. It's about progress, not perfection. Every day presents new opportunities to practice self-discipline, to choose actions that move us closer to who we want to be. Building self-discipline is a journey. It's about finding balance between what we want now and what we want most. It's about making choices that might be hard in the moment, but will bring us closer to our goals, happiness, and peace in the long run. Now, let's commit to this journey together, supporting one another and choosing what's right, not what's easy. Remember, in the realm of self-discipline lies the path to achieving our dreams and living in the life we truly love. 5. Developing emotional resilience. When life throws its curveballs, we all experience a whirlwind of emotions. Feeling angry, sad, or frustrated is a natural part of being human. But here's the kicker. It's not just about the emotions we feel. It's about how we handle them. That's where the magic of emotional resilience comes in. Emotional resilience is like this superpower that allows us to navigate through life's storms with grace and come out stronger on the other side. It's about acknowledging our emotions, understanding them, and then taking positive steps to move forward rather than being swept away by the tide of our feelings. The Stoics had a lot to say about this. Marcus Aurelius, for example, reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This profound insight touches the essence of emotional resilience. It's about recognizing that while we might not have control over what happens to us, we have control over how we respond. Our emotions don't have to control our actions. Seneca offers wisdom on facing adversity without losing our composure. He teaches that life's hardships are tests of our character and resilience. By facing our feelings with understanding and patience, we can grow wiser and more robust. But how do we develop this emotional resilience? It starts with self-awareness. Being mindful of our emotions and reactions helps us understand ourselves better. It's okay to feel what we're feeling, but instead of reacting impulsively, we can choose to respond in a way that aligns with our values and long-term well-being. But how do we develop this emotional resilience? It starts with self-awareness. Being mindful of our emotions and reactions helps us understand ourselves better. It's okay to feel what we're feeling, but instead of reacting impulsively, we can choose to respond in a way that aligns with our values and long-term well-being. Aristotle spoke about the golden mean, finding the balance between excess and deficiency. This concept applies beautifully to emotional resilience. It's about finding a balanced response to our emotions, not suppressing them or letting them overpower us. Carl Jung, a pioneer in psychology, emphasized the importance of integrating all aspects of our psyche to achieve wholeness. Part of this process involves confronting our emotions, understanding them, and learning from them. This is at the heart of developing emotional resilience. So, what can you do when you're in the grip of strong emotions? First, give yourself permission to feel. Acknowledge your emotions without judgment. Then, take a step back and try to understand what triggered these feelings. This reflection can provide valuable insights into your emotional patterns and triggers. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is a powerful reminder that our reactions to our emotions can shape our experiences. Instead of being reactive, we can choose to respond in a way that is constructive and healing. Developing emotional resilience is a journey. It involves practicing mindfulness, self-reflection, and patience. It's about building a toolkit of coping strategies, like journaling, talking to a trusted friend, or practicing relaxation techniques. Most importantly, it's about treating yourself with kindness and compassion as you navigate through your emotions. Emotional resilience is not about never feeling negative emotions. It's about learning to ride the waves of those emotions with grace and coming out on the other side stronger and more self-aware. By developing emotional resilience, we empower ourselves to face life's challenges with courage and poise. Let's embrace this journey together, supporting each other and becoming more emotionally resilient, and ultimately living a more fulfilling life. 6. Memento mori. Remember, you will pass away. The Stoics used this concept not to create fear, but to inspire a deeper appreciation for every moment. They believed that by keeping the inevitability of death in mind, we would live more fully, consciously, and with gratitude for the present. Marcus Aurelius in his meditations often reflected on the transience of life, encouraging us to live in a way that's true to our values and to make the most of the time we're given. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think, he wrote. This isn't about being morose. It's a call to action, a reminder to focus on what truly matters, to let go of petty concerns, and to live with purpose and integrity. Seneca, too, spoke about the shortness of life, urging us not to waste time on trivialities, but to focus on creating a meaningful existence. He believed that being mindful of death encourages us to live more wisely and to cherish our relationships and experiences. Epictetus emphasized the importance of focusing on the present and making the best use of our time. By remembering that we won't live forever, we're more likely to live ethically and to appreciate the beauty and richness of life. How can we incorporate memento mori into our own lives without it feeling like a dark cloud over our heads? It starts with shifting our perspective. Instead of seeing the awareness of death as something fearful, we can view it as a powerful motivator to live our lives to the fullest. It's about embracing the present, not postponing our dreams or happiness for some undefined future that's not guaranteed. Think about the things you've been putting off. Maybe it's pursuing a passion, reconnecting with loved ones, or simply taking time to appreciate the small joys of everyday life. Memento mori reminds us not to take our time for granted. It encourages us to live more authentically, to say what we mean, to love openly, and to be present in our lives. This concept also teaches us to appreciate the impermanence of life, which in turn deepens our gratitude for the moments we have. When we remember that our time is limited, we're more likely to cherish our experiences, to live more mindfully, and to express our gratitude for the people and moments that enrich our lives. So, let's use memento mori, not as a source of fear, but as a catalyst for growth, gratitude, and a deeper appreciation of life. Let it remind us to make choices that align with our deepest values, to cherish our relationships, and to savor the beauty of the present moment. Remembering that we will die one day encourages us to live more fully today. In embracing memento mori, we find a powerful reminder to live, not in fear of death, but in celebration of life. Let's make every moment count, not because we're afraid of its end, but because we're in love with life itself. Let's live in a way that, when our time does come, we can look back with no regrets, knowing we lived fully, loved deeply, and appreciated the incredible journey that life is. 7. Practicing gratitude. It's fascinating how such a simple concept can profoundly impact our lives. Gratitude is about shifting our focus to what we have, rather than dwelling on what we're missing. This practice can be a real game changer, especially on those days that feel like an uphill battle. The Stoics, wise as they were, had a lot to say about gratitude. They believed that happiness doesn't come from having more, but from appreciating what we already have. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the importance of focusing on the present and finding joy in the simple things. He said, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." This is gratitude in its purest form, recognizing the value of life itself and the many gifts it offers us each day. Seneca talked about how our desires can lead us astray, always chasing after more and never finding true satisfaction. He suggested that by focusing on what we have and understanding that the best things in life are already within our grasp, we can find real contentment. Epictetus, known for his followers to appreciate their current circumstances, whatever they might be, he believed that by accepting and finding value in our present situation, we could live a more fulfilled life. But how do we practice gratitude, especially when life throws curveballs our way? It starts with making it a daily habit. Each morning or evening, take a moment to reflect on 3 things you're grateful for. It could be as simple as a warm cup of coffee, a conversation with a friend, or the beauty of a sunset. This practice helps rewire our brains to focus on the positive, boosting our mood and overall outlook on life. Gratitude also means embracing challenges and finding lessons within them. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we can ask, "What can I learn from this?" This shift in perspective helps us appreciate our experiences, both good and bad, as valuable steps on our journey. Moreover, practicing gratitude helps us build stronger connections with others. By expressing appreciation for the people in our lives, we not only brighten their day, but also strengthen our own resilience. A simple thank you can go a long way in showing someone that they're valued and loved. Aristotle spoke about the importance of recognizing the good in our lives and striving for a virtuous life. He believed that gratitude was key to achieving eudaimonia, or true happiness, as it allows us to appreciate the goodness around us and within ourselves. Even modern psychology supports the benefits of gratitude. Studies show that people who practice gratitude regularly experience less anxiety, sleep better, and have a more positive outlook on life. As Carl Jung said, the word happiness would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. By acknowledging and being grateful for the full spectrum of our experiences, we find a deeper, more authentic form of happiness. So let's make gratitude a cornerstone of our daily lives. Let's celebrate the small victories, cherish the moments of connection, and find joy in the simple pleasures. By focusing on what we have, not on what we're missing, we can cultivate a sense of abundance and happiness that shines from within. Remember, it's not happiness that brings us gratitude, it's gratitude that brings us happiness. Let's fill our glasses half full, raise them high, and toast to the beauty of gratitude in our lives. Cheers to finding the silver lining, even on the cloudiest of days. 8. Focusing on personal excellence. The Stoics had a profound understanding of personal excellence. They believed that excellence, or virtue, is the sole good, and that everything we do should aim toward living a virtuous life. Marcus Aurelius, for instance, is a prime example of someone who strived for personal excellence. He once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This simple yet powerful statement encapsulates the essence of personal excellence. It's about embodying the values we admire and striving to live by them every day. Seneca emphasized the importance of self-improvement and continuous learning. He advocated for a life lived in accordance with nature and reason, suggesting that true excellence comes from within and is reflected in our actions and choices. Epictetus highlighted the role of personal responsibility in achieving excellence. He taught that our reactions, emotions, and will are within our control, and mastering them is key to living a life of virtue. But what does focusing on personal excellence look like in our day-to-day lives? It starts with setting personal standards based on our values and aspirations, not on societal expectations or the achievements of others. It's about knowing who we are, understanding our strengths and weaknesses, and taking consistent steps toward improvement. Personal excellence is also about resilience. It's about how we respond to setbacks and failures, not just our successes. As Aristotle said, excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. This means embracing challenges as opportunities to learn and grow, rather than seeing them as obstacles. Moreover, focusing on personal excellence involves cultivating a growth mindset, a concept championed by modern psychology. It's the belief that our abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work. This mindset encourages us to embrace challenges, persist in the face of setbacks, and see effort as a path to mastery. Personal excellence also means living authentically. It's about being true to ourselves and our values, even when it's not easy. It's about making choices that reflect who we are and who we want to be, and taking pride in our journey, including both the struggles and the triumphs. Practicing gratitude, as we discussed earlier, ties into personal excellence too. By appreciating what we have and where we are on our journey, we foster a positive outlook that supports our growth and well-being. So let's commit to focusing on personal excellence. Let's set our own standards, embrace our unique paths, and take pride in our progress. Remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about being proud of who we are and how we live. It's about celebrating our efforts, learning from our experiences, and always striving to be the best versions of ourselves. Together, let's make personal excellence not just a goal, but a way of life. 9. Not caring what others think. In a world saturated with social media, where likes, follows, and comments often dictate self-worth, it's easy to fall into the trap of valuing ourselves through the lens of others' opinions. But here's a liberating truth. Your worth isn't based on external validation. It's about being true to yourself, embracing your authenticity, and living in alignment with your values. The Stoics, those ancient philosophers we often turn to for timeless wisdom, had much to say about this. They taught that our inner peace and freedom come from focusing on what's within our control, our actions, our thoughts, and our integrity, not the ever-changing opinions of others. Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, "I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinions of others." This striking observation highlights a paradox many of us live with, valuing others' judgments over our own self-assessment. Seneca echoed this sentiment by emphasizing the importance of living a life true to oneself, not one shaped by the expectations or approval of others. He believed that true contentment comes from within, from living a life that aligns with our principles and values. Epictetus taught that worrying about others' opinions is outside our control and therefore not worth our energy. He encouraged focusing instead on our own actions and on living virtuously, as that's where our true power lies. So, how can we start caring less about what others think and more about being true to ourselves? First, understand that you are the author of your life story. You have the power to define your worth, not society, not your social media followers, nor the people around you. Ground your self-esteem in who you are, the values you stand for, the kindness you spread, and the effort you put into being your best self. Second, practice self-reflection. Ask yourself, whose life am I living? Am I making choices based on my desires, or am I trying to fit into someone else's mold? Reflecting on these questions can help realign your actions with your true self. Third, embrace vulnerability. Being true to yourself means being open about your flaws and all, understanding that we are reflections of our progress, making mistakes and learning from them. This authenticity attracts the right people into your life, those who appreciate the real you. Moreover, remember the words of Aristotle, who spoke about the golden mean, finding balance in life. Applying this to our concern for others' opinions means finding a healthy balance between considering constructive feedback and maintaining our autonomy and self-worth. Incorporating a Stoic mindset into our lives means understanding that our worth is determined by our virtues, our actions, and our commitment to living a meaningful life, not by external accolades or approval. It's about building a strong inner fortress that remains unshaken by the fleeting opinions of others. Let's commit to valuing ourselves for who we truly are, not for the likes, follows, or approval we receive. Let's be courageous in our authenticity, living lives that resonate with our deepest truths. Remember, your worth is inherent and unique. By being true to yourself, you shine your light in the most genuine way possible. Let's not just navigate life, but thrive in it, with the confidence that comes from knowing we are living authentically, aligned with our values, and true to ourselves. 10. Accepting change. Here's the thing, accepting change is not just necessary, it's vital for our growth and happiness. The reality is, the only constant in life is change. Learning to go with the flow and embrace life's inevitable shifts makes navigating them less scary and more of an adventure. The Stoics had an incredibly healthy perspective on change. They saw it as a natural part of the universe's rhythm. Marcus Aurelius said, "Accept whatever comes to you, woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs?" This profound acceptance of change as part of life's fabric helps us understand that each change, whether we perceive it as good or bad, has its place in our story. Seneca taught that becoming too attached to our current circumstances can lead to disappointment because inevitably those circumstances will change. He advised us to be flexible and to understand that change is not just a part of life, but a necessary component of our personal development and happiness. Epictetus encouraged us to distinguish between what we can control and what we can't. While we can't control our attitudes towards them, this mindset is incredibly empowering when it comes to dealing with change. It's about focusing on our responses, finding opportunities for growth within the change, and moving forward with resilience. But how can we become more accepting of change? First, by acknowledging that change is inevitable. It's the natural order of things. Everything around us is in a constant state of flux. Seasons change, people come and go, and our very selves are renewing themselves as we speak. Embracing change means embracing life itself. Second, by practicing mindfulness. Being present in the moment allows us to appreciate our current experiences without clinging to them. This awareness creates space for acceptance when those experiences inevitably evolve or come to an end. Third, by seeking the lessons in change. Every shift in our lives, no matter how challenging, comes with opportunities to learn and grow. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we can ask, "What can I learn from this?" This shift in perspective can turn the challenges of change into stepping stones for personal development. Aristotle spoke about the importance of pursuing a virtuous life as the key to happiness. A part of virtue is adaptability, the ability to navigate life's changes with grace and wisdom. It's about finding balance and harmony within the flux of life. Modern psychology supports this Stoic approach to change. Viewing change as an opportunity rather than a threat can significantly reduce stress and anxiety levels. It enhances our resilience, making us better equipped to handle whatever life throws our way. Let's remind ourselves that change is not just something to endure, but to welcome as a natural, enriching part of our journey. By accepting change, we open ourselves to new experiences, growth, and the beautiful unfolding of our unique paths in life. Remember, going with the flow isn't about passivity. It's about actively engaging with life in its full dynamic complexity. Let's navigate the currents of change with courage, grace, and a heart open to the endless possibilities that change brings. 11. Practicing compassion and empathy. Despite our differences, we are all in this together, navigating the complex journey of life. By fostering an understanding and caring attitude toward others, we contribute to making the world a kinder, more loving place. The Stoics, those ancient philosophers who continue to enlighten us with their timeless wisdom, placed great importance on the virtues of compassion and empathy. They believed in the interconnectedness of all humans and taught that kindness and understanding toward others are essential aspects of living a virtuous life. Marcus Aurelius, for instance, reminded us that human beings are social creatures by nature, meant to live in harmony and cooperation with one another. He said, "What brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee." This beautifully illustrates the idea that our well-being is intrinsically linked to the well-being of others. Seneca emphasized the importance of treating others with kindness and generosity. He argued that compassion is a natural human instinct, and that by helping others, we also help ourselves. In his writings, Seneca encourages us to extend our empathy, even to those who have wronged us, understanding that they too are acting out of their own struggles and limitations. Epictetus taught that we should strive to understand others' perspectives, recognizing that everyone has their reasons for their actions. This doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior, but rather approaching others with a mindset of empathy, seeking to understand their experiences and viewpoints. But how can we practice compassion and empathy in our daily lives? It starts with listening, truly listening, to the stories, experiences, and feelings of those around us. It's about putting ourselves in their shoes, imagining their struggles, their joys, their fears, and their hopes. This act of understanding can bridge the gap between us, fostering a sense of connection and shared humanity. Another way to cultivate compassion and empathy is through acts of kindness, no matter how small. A smile, a kind word, a listening ear, these can all make a significant difference in someone's day. By being present and attentive to others, we signal that they matter, that their feelings and experiences are valid and important. Practicing compassion and empathy also means being there for others in times of need, offering support and understanding without judgment. It's about recognizing the value and dignity of every person, regardless of our differences. The ancient philosopher Aristotle spoke about the importance of friendship and the role of empathy in building strong, meaningful relationships. He believed that true friends not only share in each other's joys, but also in their sorrows, supporting each other with empathy and understanding. Modern psychology supports the Stoic emphasis on compassion and empathy, showing that these virtues not only enhance our relationships, but also our own emotional well-being. By caring for others, we foster a sense of belonging, purpose, and happiness in our own lives. Let's remind ourselves that behind every face is a story. Behind every action is a reason. By understanding and caring for each other, we make the world a kinder, gentler place. In doing so, we not only enrich the lives of those around us, but also find deeper fulfillment and joy in our own lives. Together, let's spread kindness like confetti, creating ripples of compassion that transform the world, one act of empathy at a time. 12. Reflecting and reviewing regularly. This is about taking a pause, a real, meaningful pause, to look back on our actions, our thoughts, and the paths we've tread. It's about growth, introspection, and aligning our lives with our deepest values. In a world that's always rushing forward, this practice is our anchor, ensuring we're not just being swept away, but are sailing in the direction that's true to us. The Stoics, with their profound insights into human nature, placed immense value on the practice of reflection. Marcus Aurelius, in his personal writings, which we now treasure as meditations, offered a model of this practice. He didn't just rule an empire, he took the time to examine his life, his decisions, and his moral compass through writing. He saw this reflection as essential to living a life of virtue and purpose. "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts," he wrote, reminding us that our internal dialogue shapes our external reality. Seneca recommended regular self-assessment as a way to foster self-improvement and wisdom. He likened life to a play, suggesting that we periodically review our roles and performances. Are we acting in harmony with the character we wish to embody? Are our actions reflective of the script we value? The script of our lives? Epictetus encouraged his students to end each day with a review of their actions and attitudes. This wasn't about self-criticism, but about self-awareness and growth. He urged us to ask ourselves, what did I do well? What did I do wrong? What duties were left undone? Through such questions, we can steer our lives more consciously, making adjustments that bring us closer to our ideals. But how do we incorporate this practice of reflection and review into our modern lives? First, by making it a habit. Dedicate a few minutes each day, perhaps before bedtime, to reflect on your day. What were your victories? Where did you face challenges, and how did you respond? This practice can start as a mental exercise, but writing it down can enhance its benefits, giving you a tangible record of your journey. Second, use reflection as a tool for gratitude. In reviewing your day, also take note of the moments, no matter how small, that brought you joy or gratitude. This balances our natural tendency to focus on the negative, cultivating a more positive outlook on life. Third, approach this practice with kindness and compassion toward yourself. Reflection is not about berating yourself for mistakes, but about recognizing them as opportunities for learning and growth. Be as understanding and supportive to yourself as you would be to a dear friend. Aristotle spoke about the importance of living a reflective life. He believed that true wisdom comes from understanding ourselves, our actions, and our place in the world. This reflection is the essence of living an examined life, one that's in accordance with virtue and excellence. Every single day, we're faced with moments that test our patience and rattle our calm. Whether it's a traffic jam when you're already late, a coworker's irritating habits, or your phone battery dying in the middle of an important call, life seems full of these little battles. It's not just about these minor irritations, though. It's about how we respond to them that shapes our days and, ultimately, our lives. It's important to remember that everyone feels angry sometimes. It's part of being human. But here's where Stoicism steps in with its profound wisdom. Stoicism teaches us that while we can't always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. This is pivotal in transforming our relationship with anger. Think about it. When something goes wrong or someone frustrates us, our first instinct might be to react with anger. But what if, instead, we paused and considered this reaction? Stoicism encourages us to see these moments as opportunities to practice virtues like patience, understanding, and resilience. By acknowledging anger as a natural emotion, we set the stage for learning how to handle it more effectively. The Stoic philosophers like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius often discuss the concept of not being swayed by external events, but instead focusing on our internal responses. They believe that our emotions, including anger, come from our judgments about events, not the events themselves. So, when we feel angry, it's often because we're placing a particular value or judgment on what's happened. This understanding opens up a powerful opportunity for us. Each time we feel anger rising, we can ask ourselves, what judgment am I making about this situation? Is there another way to view it? This is not about suppressing or denying your anger. It's about understanding it. By getting to the root of what triggers our anger, we can start to change our responses. For instance, if you get cut off in traffic and feel the anger bubbling up, recognize this as a chance to examine why you react this way. Is it really the action of the other driver, or is it your belief that your route should be obstacle-free? Moreover, acknowledging anger helps us empathize with others who might also struggle with their emotions. This empathy can deepen our connections and improve our interactions. It's about compassion, both for ourselves and for others, as we navigate the complexities of human emotions. This idea is at the heart of Stoic philosophy and is incredibly liberating once you truly grasp it. Think about it. So much of our frustration and anger stems from situations or people we simply can't change, no matter how much we might want to. The Stoics, like the wise Marcus Aurelius, taught that the real power lies in recognizing the difference between what we can control and what we can't. You control your thoughts, your decisions, and your actions. That's it. Everything else is more or less out of your hands. Other people's actions, the weather, the past, and much of the future. But here's where it gets interesting. By focusing on our own reactions and attitudes, we reclaim a tremendous amount of power. Instead of wasting energy on the uncontrollable, we invest it in what we can actually influence. Let's make it practical. Say you're working on a group project and someone isn't pulling their weight. It's easy to get frustrated, right? You might even feel your temper rising, but ask yourself, what part of this situation can I actually control? You can't make your teammate work harder, but you can control how you respond to the challenge. Maybe it's a conversation about expectations, or perhaps it's reallocating work within the group. By shifting your focus like this, you not only reduce your own stress, but also open up more constructive ways to address the problem. Another aspect of this Stoic principle is accepting that some things are just beyond our control. This acceptance doesn't mean resignation. It means understanding where our power truly lies. It's about not letting external events dictate your peace of mind. For instance, if you're stuck in traffic and getting irritated because you're going to be late, pause and think, can I control the traffic? No. But what can you control? Your reaction. Maybe you turn on an audiobook or some calming music, or use the time to think through your day. The beauty of focusing on what you can control is that it gradually builds a stronger, more resilient mindset. Over time, you'll find yourself less shaken by life's ups and downs because you know where your responsibilities lie and where they don't. This isn't about suppressing your feelings, but about channeling your energies more productively. It's about being fully present in the moment, aware of where we are and what we're doing, without being overly reactive or overwhelmed by what's going on around us. This aligns beautifully with Stoic teachings, which emphasize awareness of our thoughts and actions and maintaining control over our reactions to external circumstances. So why practice mindfulness? Because it helps us to pause between our experiences and our reactions to them. By becoming more mindful, we can choose responses that align with our values and goals instead of getting swept away by emotions. For example, when someone says something that upsets you, instead of immediately reacting or snapping back, Mindfulness allows you to take a step back. You notice your emotional surge, but choose to observe it passively, without acting on it immediately. This space that mindfulness creates is not just calming, it's empowering. It gives you the chance to choose a response that you won't regret later. Let's talk about how to incorporate mindfulness into daily life, because it sounds great in theory, but it's in the practice that the real magic happens. One simple technique is to focus on your breathing. When you find yourself feeling anxious or angry, take a moment to concentrate on deep, slow breaths. This focus pulls your mind away from the triggers of stress or anger and brings you back to what you can control: your breath. Another practical method is what I like to call mindful observation. Choose an ordinary task or moment, like drinking a cup of coffee. Focus all your senses on this experience. Notice the aroma, the heat of the cup in your hands, the taste. This practice of engaging fully with the present moment can transform an ordinary experience into a richer, more textured moment. What's fascinating about this is that it trains your brain to apply the same level of awareness to more challenging situations. When anger or frustration arises, you'll be better equipped to handle it with the same focus and calm. Stoicism also teaches us about the impermanence of our experiences. Nothing lasts forever, not even our emotions. Mindfulness complements this by helping us to experience our feelings without judgment. Acknowledge that you're angry, recognize it, but also remind yourself that this anger is just a passing state. It's not who you are, and it doesn't control you, unless you let it. The idea that everything changes and nothing lasts forever is a universal truth that can help us navigate life's ups and downs with more grace and less frustration. It's about understanding that our circumstances, emotions, and even our thoughts are constantly in flux, and learning to embrace this constant state of change rather than resisting it. Think about how often we get upset because things didn't go as planned. Maybe it was a job promotion that didn't come through, a relationship that ended unexpectedly, or a sudden change in our health. Our first reaction might be to resist these changes, to get angry or sad. But Stoicism invites us to look at these situations differently, through the lens of impermanence. When we truly grasp that nothing is permanent, we start to realize that our anger or disappointment is also temporary. This doesn't diminish the importance of our feelings, but gives us a more balanced perspective on them. Embracing impermanence allows us to live more in the present and worry less about the past and the future. If you know that everything is temporary, you begin to appreciate your experiences and the people around you more deeply. You don't take things for granted because you're aware that circumstances can change at any moment. This awareness can be incredibly freeing. It reduces the sting of negative events and enhances the joy of positive ones. Now, how do we practice accepting impermanence in daily life? Start by reflecting on the transient nature of your surroundings and experiences. For example, watch how the seasons change. Observe how your feelings shift throughout the day, or how your relationships evolve over time. These observations can be reminders that change is the only constant. Another way to integrate this into your life is by adjusting how you respond to disruptions or unexpected changes. Instead of reacting with frustration when something doesn't go your way, take a moment to acknowledge that this change is part of a bigger flow of life. It's an opportunity to adapt and grow. Think about a time when something didn't work out as you had hoped, and then something better came along. Often, it's only in hindsight that we see how these changes were beneficial. Stoicism doesn't just ask us to accept impermanence, it encourages us to find strength in it. Each change and ending is a chance to practice resilience and flexibility. By fostering this mindset, we not only cope with life's challenges more effectively, but also learn to move through them with a sense of peace and anticipation for what's next. The Stoics believed that becoming aware of the root causes of our emotions could lead to greater self-mastery. When we understand our emotions, we are better equipped to respond to life's challenges in ways that are aligned with our values and goals, rather than simply reacting out of habit or impulse. Every emotion we experience, whether it's anger, joy, sadness, or fear, is triggered by our perception. For example, if you feel angry when someone interrupts you while speaking, it's worth exploring why. Is it because you feel disrespected? Or perhaps it reflects a deeper insecurity about your voice being heard. By digging into these questions, you can begin to understand not just your reactions, but also the beliefs and values that underlie them. This understanding is crucial because it gives you the opportunity to change your perceptions and consequently the way you feel. Stoicism teaches us that our emotions are predicated on our judgments. The good news is that judgments can be examined and changed. So when you feel a strong emotion, try to step back and ask yourself, what am I believing right now? Is this belief true? Is it helpful? This kind of questioning can be very powerful. It allows you to shift your perspective and choose a different emotional response, one that serves you better. For instance, if you're feeling anxious about a work presentation, it might be because you believe that you must perform perfectly in order to be respected. But is this really true? Likely, your colleagues value your effort and sincerity more than perfection. Recognizing this can alleviate some of your anxiety and help you approach the situation with more calmness and confidence. Practically speaking, journaling can be an incredibly effective tool for understanding your emotions. By writing down what you feel and exploring why you feel it, you can uncover patterns and triggers that you might not be aware of otherwise. This reflection not only helps in the moment, but also builds a sort of emotional intelligence over time that can make you more resilient and adaptable. Another approach is to discuss your feelings with someone you trust, a friend, a family member, or a mentor. Speaking about your emotions can provide new insights and perspectives that you might not have considered. It's often through dialogue that we come to new understandings about ourselves and our relationships. Embracing the Stoic approach to emotions isn't about suppressing what you feel. On the contrary, it's about engaging with your emotions in a proactive and reflective way. It's about taking control of the narrative of your inner life. By understanding your emotions, you're not just reacting to the world, you're actively shaping your experience of it. Stoicism teaches us the value of patience, not just as a way to endure, but as a method to transform our experiences. Patience, according to Stoic philosophy, isn't just about waiting, it's about how we behave while we wait. It's about maintaining our composure and dignity in the face of life's delays and challenges, understanding that these are often outside our control. In our daily lives, we encounter countless situations that can trigger impatience, from a slow-moving line at the grocery store to a traffic jam or a delayed response from a colleague. Our first instinct might be to feel irritated or stressed, but here's where Stoicism comes into play. It encourages us to see these moments as opportunities to practice virtue. Every instance of delay is a chance to exercise patience, to reinforce our ability to stay calm and collected. So, how can we develop patience in practical terms? One effective approach is to adjust our expectations. Often, our impatience stems from a mismatch between our expectations and reality. If we start by acknowledging that delays and obstacles are natural parts of life, we're less likely to get upset when they occur. This doesn't mean lowering our standards, but rather aligning our expectations with the fact that the world won't always operate according to our preferences. Another key method is to use the moments of waiting as opportunities for growth and reflection. If you're stuck in traffic, instead of fuming over the delay, you can turn it into valuable time, listening to an audiobook, practice deep breathing, or simply reflect on your day. This shift in perspective turns a frustrating situation into a productive or relaxing one. Practicing mindfulness is also a powerful ally in developing patience. By being present in the moment and fully engaging with it, we can distance ourselves from the feelings of urgency and restlessness that often accompany waiting. Mindfulness helps us cultivate a peaceful state of mind that buffers us against the stirrings of impatience. Stoicism not only advocates for patience, but also for understanding the impermanence of our current state. Remembering that this too shall pass can help us endure unpleasant situations, whether it's waiting for a delayed flight or enduring a long recovery from an illness. The knowledge that it is temporary makes it more bearable. Finally, celebrating small victories is crucial in developing patience. When you manage to stay calm during a situation that would normally make you impatient, acknowledge and reward yourself for this achievement. This reinforces the behavior and makes it more likely to become a habit. This is one of those transformative experiences that not only changes the way we relate to others, but also profoundly affects our inner peace. Forgiveness in the Stoic sense is not about condoning wrongdoings or forgetting the harm done. It's about freeing ourselves from the emotional burden that comes from carrying grudges. Forgiveness requires a strong sense of self-awareness and control over one's emotions, qualities that Stoics strive to develop. It involves recognizing that our anger and hurt, while natural and valid responses to perceived injustices, are ultimately within our control. This doesn't mean that the process is simple or immediate. Forgiveness can be challenging. It often requires a deliberate, concerted effort to let go of deep-seated feelings of injustice. Consider the power that comes from deciding not to allow someone else's actions to disturb your inner tranquility. This is the essence of Stoic forgiveness. It's about making a conscious choice to not let past actions continually affect your present state of mind. This decision helps you reclaim your emotional energy and focus it on more constructive pursuits that align with your values and goals. Now, how do we start practicing forgiveness in everyday life? It begins with the recognition that all humans are fallible, ourselves included. We all make mistakes, sometimes out of ignorance, sometimes out of malice. Reflecting on our own shortcomings can help us develop empathy towards others, making it easier to forgive. Another Stoic practice is to consider the bigger picture. Often, the things we hold on to are not as significant in the grand scheme of our lives. By focusing on our long-term well-being, which is bolstered by peace and harmony, the immediate sting of grievances can be mitigated. Practicing forgiveness also involves actively reframing our narratives. Instead of viewing yourself as a victim, which can perpetuate feelings of anger and helplessness, try to see yourself as a survivor, or even a hero of your story, one who has overcome challenges and emerged stronger. This shift in perspective not only facilitates forgiveness, but also empowers you in your life's journey. Moreover, engaging in meditation or mindfulness exercises can assist in the process. These practices help calm the mind and provide the space needed to process emotions more rationally and less reactively. As you sit quietly and focus on your breath, allow thoughts of forgiveness to enter your mind. Picture those you feel have wronged you and imagine sending them thoughts of goodwill. This doesn't mean you accept the wrong, but you are choosing to release its hold over you. Finally, it's important to understand that forgiveness is a process, sometimes a lengthy one. It doesn't happen all at once, and that's perfectly okay. Each step towards forgiveness, no matter how small, is a step towards a freer, more emotionally balanced life. At its essence, self-restorative allows us to pause before reacting, giving us the time to consider whether our impulses align with our long-term goals. For instance, if you're trying to lead a healthier lifestyle, self-restorative is what helps you choose not to eat that late-night junk food. In emotional situations, self-restorative helps you hold back a harsh word or an angry reply, preserving relationships and maintaining peace of mind. How can we strengthen this essential skill? One effective Stoic practice is to regularly reflect on our actions and their consequences. This could be as simple as taking a few minutes each evening to think about the choices you made throughout the day. Were there moments when you lacked self-control? What triggered it? Understanding these patterns is the first step towards managing them. Another powerful technique is to set clear personal rules for behavior based on your values. Stoicism teaches us that living according to rational principles is key to a good life. By setting and following your own rules, for example, not checking your phone during meals or limiting time spent on social media, you exercise self-control in ways that directly improve your daily life and well-being. Visualization is another tool that can be incredibly helpful. Before entering a situation where you know you might be tempted to act impulsively, take a moment to visualize yourself handling the situation with calm and restraint. Imagine the satisfaction you'll feel from acting in accordance with your principles. This mental rehearsal can make it much easier to keep your cool in the heat of the moment. It's also beneficial to gradually increase your tolerance for discomfort, which is a big part of what self-control is all about. The Stoics believe that by voluntarily exposing ourselves to discomfort, whether it's cold showers, fasting, or resisting urges, we can strengthen our willpower. These practices teach us that we can endure discomfort and that it's often not as bad as we fear. This realization directly feeds into our ability to exercise self-retreat in more complex emotional or social situations. Does your mind seem hardwired to focus on the negative? Scientists call this the negativity bias, and today we're going to learn how to combat it. To quote David Goggins, the same voice that says, "give up," can also be trained to say, "keep going." In this video, we'll go over 5 techniques you can use to banish negativity from your life and shift to a proactive Stoic mindset, because you don't have to let negativity win. You can use your mind to stay focused on what you can change and then make that change happen in the world. We'll start with cognitive diffusion, a powerful method to create distance between you and your thoughts. Then, we'll move on to pattern interruption, a technique to break negative thought loops in their tracks. After that, we'll describe negative visualization with a twist, an ancient Stoic practice reimagined for the modern mind. We'll go into behavioral activation, because sometimes the best way to change your thoughts is to change your actions. And finally, we'll talk about mental model design, restructuring your thought patterns so they serve you and not the other way around. But before we begin, let's answer the question, when is negativity a problem? It's not wrong to say I can't find my wallet or I'm locked out of my house. That's not what I mean by negativity. What I mean by negativity is very opinionated, negative thoughts that aren't helping you achieve your goals. Thoughts that are only causing you to feel bad and work less. These are the kinds of thoughts that would fit under the category of depression or sometimes even apathy. Our core belief here is that we live in a world where we can improve our situation with our thoughts and our actions. If what you're thinking goes against this, we call that negativity. As Epictetus said, we can't control what happens to us, but we can control our reactions to it. Having better reactions is what this video is about. So let's get started with our first technique, cognitive diffusion. What does that mean? Cognitive diffusion is a psychological technique that helps you step back from your thoughts and see them for what they really are. They are just thoughts, not facts or reality. The word diffusion is the opposite of fusion. It's about separating yourself from your thoughts for a moment instead of being fused or stuck to them. Here are a few examples of how cognitive diffusion works in action. Instead of saying, "I'm a failure," you learn to notice, "I'm having the thought that I'm failing right now." Rather than thinking, "Nobody likes me," you observe, "My mind is telling me nobody likes me." Instead of believing, "I can't handle this," you recognize, "I'm noticing thoughts about not being able to handle this." Now that we know what is happening, we can tackle it. Here are some techniques you can use if you notice it's time for cognitive diffusion. Leaves on a stream. Imagine your thoughts as leaves floating down a stream. You are simply watching them pass by, going farther and farther away. You don't have to engage with them, you can just observe. Thank your mind. When you have a negative thought, respond with thanks for that thought. This creates distance. You've recognized the thought and acknowledged it, and for now, that's enough. Name the story. Label recurring thought patterns with names that fit, like, "There's my not good enough story again." Noticing it and giving it a name helps loosen its grip over you. Create imaginary physical distance. Imagine writing your thought on a balloon and watching it float away. It's like the leaves on a stream technique, but with a bigger, more vivid physical aspect. You're mentally sending the thought away, putting it in timeout. You may come back to it later, but you don't need it in front of you right now. To recap, you can use leaves on a stream, thank your mind, name the story, and create physical distance whenever you need to practice cognitive diffusion. You can do this whenever you're having intense negative thoughts, to give yourself some breathing room, calm down, and think clearly. The key insight of cognitive diffusion is that you are not your thoughts. You're the observer who can notice thoughts coming and going. This creates mental flexibility and reduces the power negativity has over you. Now let's move on to our second technique, pattern interruption. What is pattern interruption? This is a psychological method that helps you break free from negativity by switching your mental or physical state when your mind gets stuck in a cycle of harmful thoughts. It acts like hitting a reset button on your brain. Your brain creates pathways that strengthen with repetition. When you repeatedly think negative thoughts, these pathways become well-traveled roads that your mind naturally follows. Think of it like water flowing down a hill. It naturally takes the path of least resistance. When these patterns take hold, one negative thought triggers another. So how do we break out of these patterns? One way is simple. Use temperature. Splash cold water on your face. Take a hot shower. Hold an ice cube in your hand. The sudden temperature shift jolts your nervous system out of the cycle it was in. Another method is movement. Stand up and stretch. Break out a jump rope. Simply walk to another room. Physical movement is an easy way to change the thought pattern that was present while you were still. Math or mental problems work in a similar way. If you've got 5 minutes and you're having negative thoughts, you might turn to a short, not too long game. The concentration required can make it difficult to maintain negative thoughts. Hopefully you get the idea. The key is to create an interruption toolkit that you can access whenever you need it. Start by identifying your common negative thought patterns. Notice when they occur. Then select a pattern interruption technique that resonates with you and is practical in those situations. It's simple, but it works. Now, let's move on to our third technique. Behavioral activation. Behavioral activation. Behavioral activation is based on a powerful truth. Sometimes the best way to change your thoughts isn't more thinking, it's taking action. As Marcus Aurelius put it, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. Instead of endlessly analyzing why you're feeling negative, behavioral activation encourages you to act your way into a new way of thinking. Here's how you do it. Embrace the 2-minute rule. When negativity hits, commit to just 2 minutes of positive action. Too depressed to clean your house? Just clean for 2 minutes. Avoiding an important project? Work on it for just 2 minutes. Often, you'll find yourself continuing beyond those first minutes once you've overcome the inertia of starting. Focus on building a positive history of action. Each small action you take creates evidence that contradicts your negative beliefs. If you think, "I never follow through on anything," completing even one small task provides concrete proof against that thought. Over time, these positive data points add up, making it harder to maintain negative narratives. Create specific action plans for different thought types. For thoughts like, "I'm not making progress," your action might be to list 3 things you've accomplished. For "I'll never be good enough," your action could be practicing a skill for 15 minutes. The key is having pre-planned responses ready when specific negative thoughts appear. Track your successes to build momentum. Keep a simple log of the actions you take and how they affect your mood. This creates a visible record of your progress and helps you identify the activities that help you feel the best. When negative thoughts tell you that nothing matters or nothing will help, behavioral activation challenges that directly benefit with evidence. It's hard to maintain the belief that you're powerless when you're actively taking steps to improve your situation. To summarize, start small with the 2-minute rule. Build positive data points that contradict your negative beliefs. Create specific action plans for different thought patterns. Track your successes to reinforce progress. This technique works because it moves you from passive to active within the context of your life. And that shift alone can be enough to break the grip of negativity and put you back on top. Our fourth technique is all about gradual improvement. It's called thought recording. The idea is simple. By examining your thoughts systematically, you can learn to separate critical thinking from unhelpful negativity. It starts with tracking your thoughts effectively. Today we have powerful tools in our pockets that can help us do this. Apps like Mood Notes, Thought Diary, or even just a simple notes app on your phone. The key is to write down emotional thoughts quickly as soon as they come to you. Once you've captured a thought, here's what to do with it. Examine the evidence, both for and against. Example, if you think my presentation was a disaster, you might list evidence for, I stumbled over my words, but also challenge it with evidence against, my boss thanked me afterward. This approach helps you generate a balanced perspective. Instead of thinking, I'm terrible at presentations, you might conclude, I had some rough moments, but I also connected with my audience. With practice, I can improve. Keep the good critical insights while discarding unhelpful negativity. As the Stoics understood, acknowledging reality, including its difficulties, is crucial for developing wisdom. Thought recording is about seeing situations clearly without the distortion of excessive pessimism. To recap, next time you notice a persistent negative thought, write it down exactly as it appears in your mind. List evidence both for and against it. Create a more balanced alternative that represents the truth of the situation better. What you'll often find is that your belief in the negative thought decreases, not because you've forced yourself to think positive, but because you've engaged with reality more fully. And that can only be a good thing. Our fifth and final technique is mental model design. While our other techniques help you work with negative thoughts as they arise, mental model design is about restructuring your environment to prevent negativity from taking hold in the first place. Think of it this way. If you wanted to eat healthier, you wouldn't just rely on willpower. Each time you open the fridge, you'd stock your kitchen with nutritious foods and remove temptations. The same principle applies to your mental environment. Let's start with your physical space. Your surroundings have a profound impact on your thoughts. The ancient Stoics understood this. Seneca advised carefully choosing the company we keep and the environments we live in. This could be as simple as creating a dedicated area for focused work, free from distractions, or it could mean decluttering your living space to reduce visual chaos that contributes to mental noise. Research shows that people who work in organized environments are able to persist longer on challenging tasks. A win that helps you overcome the circumstances that allow negative thoughts to arise. Next, consider your digital environment. Our devices can be gateways to either inspiration or despair. Try this. Audit your phone's home screen and social media feeds. Replace apps that trigger anxiety with tools that support reflection or learning. Set boundaries around news consumption if you find it feeds your negativity bias. Beyond your physical and digital spaces, mental model design includes creating positive, thought-supporting routines. The Stoics emphasize the importance of daily practices that strengthen the mind. Marcus Aurelius began each day with journaling to set his intentions and remind himself of his values. You might establish a morning routine that includes a gratitude practice or visualization of successful outcomes, or an evening routine that involves reflecting on what went well, not just what went wrong. These practices create pathways in your mind that make positive thinking more automatic over time. Finally, Mental model design involves having the courage to restructure your life situation. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is remove yourself from environments that are fundamentally misaligned with your values or growth. As Epictetus said, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. Mental model design works because it acknowledges that humans are contextual beings. By thoughtfully shaping your environment, you're making it easier for your best self to emerge naturally. You're creating conditions where positivity becomes the path of least resistance rather than something you have to fight for constantly. In essence, you're designing a life where stoic resilience becomes your default setting. So, start there and then keep improving your environment to make yourself stronger. And with that, we reach our conclusion. In this video, we've explored 5 powerful Stoic techniques to overcome negativity: cognitive diffusion to create distance from unhelpful thoughts, pattern interruption to break negative mental cycles, behavioral activation to act your way into better thinking, thought recording to study your thoughts, mental model design to create an environment that supports positive thinking. The negativity bias is powerful, but so is your ability to reshape your thoughts and reaction. As Marcus Aurelius reminded us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. By applying these Stoic principles consistently, you can transform your relationship with negativity and build resilience that serves you in every area of life. Whether you're starting a business, changing careers, or facing any other life challenge, we hope these principles help you find your way forward. Remember, like Epictetus said, you have the power to transform any circumstance into an opportunity for growth. Whether you're practicing cognitive diffusion, interrupting negative patterns, activating positive behaviors, recording your thoughts, or designing mental models, every moment is a chance to strengthen your inner citadel, to turn past failures into present strength. Modern life is like a chaotic whirlwind, where focus has become a luxury. We are swept up in the vortex of information, social media, and fleeting pleasures, forgetting the most important thing, ourselves. Several times over. If you don't control your thoughts, emotions, and actions, you will forever be a pup pet of the outside world. By the end of this video, you will have a toolkit that not only helps shield you from distractions, but also steers you toward a life of purpose and control. If you appreciate what we're doing here, a simple, free favor you could do is hit that subscribe button and stick with us throughout the whole video. Trust me, you won't want to miss a beat. Let's unlock the secrets to living a focused, purpose-driven life. Taking charge of your life is more than just a power move. It's a necessary for anyone looking to break free from the relentless pull of modern distractions and pressures. You know, there's something incredibly empowering about realizing that you, and only you, have the ultimate say over your thoughts, emotions, and daily actions. It's like waking up one day and understanding that the reins of your life are and always have been in your hands. Now, Stoicism teaches us the importance of focusing on what we can control, our own actions and reactions. The ancient Stoics believed that while we can't control the world around us, we can control how we respond to it. Think about that for a moment. Every day we face a barrage of decisions: what to prioritize, how to respond to challenges, and where to invest our energy. If we don't make these decisions consciously, we're just reacting to what life throws at us. But when we start to take control, we're not just reacting anymore, we're acting with purpose and intention. And here's the real kicker: taking control of your life doesn't mean you have to do everything alone or become a lone wolf. Instead, it's about understanding your value, aligning your actions with those values, and setting boundaries that help you stay true to yourself. It's about recognizing when to say yes, and more importantly, when to say no. How often have you found yourself stretched too thin, committed to tasks or engagements that don't serve your ultimate goals? Each time you take on something that doesn't align with your core values, you're not just using up time, you're diluting your essence, your personal power. This act of taking control also intertwines with the concept of responsibility. Stoicism doesn't just teach us to endure life's hardships, but to embrace responsibility for our own lives, including our happiness and well-being. It's about accepting that if you want life to change, you must change how you live it. This might mean rethinking your daily habits, rethinking your commitments, and restructuring how you spend your time. Imagine the freedom that comes with this control. Suddenly, you're not at the mercy of your circumstances. You can choose how to react when things go awry and how to forge ahead with your long-term vision, no matter the short-term setbacks. This kind of mindset shift is powerful. It's not just about avoiding the negative either. It's about actively creating the positive, about making space in your life for the things that truly matter. And let's not forget about the peace that comes from this approach. When you're in control, there's a profound sense of calm that pervades everything you do. You're no longer caught in the tide being swept this way and that. Instead, you move through life with a stoic tranquility, knowing that come what may, you have the inner resources to handle it. Discipline and sacrifice might sound like big, heavy words. Zones that bring to mind grueling workouts or giving up all your favorite foods. But when you really think about it, these concepts are about creating a life that aligns with your deepest values and aspirations. It's about choosing your long-term well-being over momentary pleasures, and that's a powerful choice to make. When we dive into Stoic philosophy, we see a strong emphasis on self-control and the power of living according to reason rather than being swayed by fleeting emotions or desires. The Stoics weren't about denying themselves joy, but they were all about choosing a joy that lasts, choosing virtues that stand the test of time over quick fixes or superficial success. Building discipline is essentially building the muscle that helps you consistently make those choices. It's the practice of lining your actions with your values, day in and day out, even when it's not the easy thing to do. Now, let's talk about sacrifice. Sacrifice is often seen as giving something up, but in a Stoic sense, it's more about investment. You're not losing something. You're investing in something greater. Every time you say no to something that doesn't serve your ultimate goals, you're saying yes to something else that does. Want to build a business? That might mean sacrificing lazy weekends. Aiming to be healthier? That might mean passing on deserts. It's all about priorities, and making those tough choices consistently helps you build a life that truly reflects who you are and who you want to be. And here's the thing about discipline and sacrifice. They feed into each other. The more disciplined you are, the easier it becomes to make sacrifices because you're clear about what you're sacrificing for. It's not deprivation if it's a choice that leads you to a richer, more fulfilling life. In fact, that clarity and purpose can bring a profound sense of satisfaction and empowerment. It's like looking at a map and knowing you're on the right path. Even if the terrain is tough, you know where you're heading, and every step, no matter how challenging, is a step toward your destination. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That sounds great in theory, but it's not so simple in practice. And you're right, it's not simple, but it is straightforward. Decision plan doesn't complicate your life, it simplifies it. Think about it. When you have clear rules for how you live, rules you've set for yourself, based on what truly matters to you, every decision becomes easier. There's less hemming and hawing over every little choice because you already know what's important. You become more decisive, more free, and ironically more free. Free from indecision, from regret, and from feeling like you're not in control of your life. Embracing discipline and sacrifice also leads to greater self-respect and self-trust. Each time you follow through on a commitment to yourself, you prove to yourself that you are reliable, that you are worthy of trust, and that you have what it takes to achieve your goals. That's a powerful foundation to build your life on. It's not about being rigid or harsh with yourself. It's about being honest about what it takes to live a life you can be proud of, and then having the courage to live it. So, while discipline and sacrifice might seem daunting, remember that they are the tools with which you carve out a life worth living. They are the practices that allow you to rise above the chaos of everyday decisions and distractions and focus on what's truly important. And in the grand scheme of things, that's not just important, it's everything. Building a disciplined life, a life where sacrifices are seen as stepping stones to greater achievement, is what Stoicism is all about. It's not the easy path, but it is the rewarding one. When you think about it, how we organize our day says a lot about what we value. A cluttered, chatty schedule can reflect a chatty mind or life. But a well-structured day where every task and every moment has a purpose, that speaks volumes about intentionality and focus. It's not just about getting things done, it's about making sure what we do matters, aligning our daily actions with our long-term visions. In Stoicism, there's a big emphasis on living deliberately. It's not enough to float along, reacting to whatever life throws at us. Stoics teach us the value of proactivity, of crafting our lives with the same care and attention that a sculptor might use when chiseling a statue from marble. And how do we do that? By carefully choosing how we spend our time and energy each day. Scheduling and focus aren't just productivity tools. They are fundamental practices that help us live more virtuously and purposefully. Think about your typical day. How much of it is spent doing things that truly resonate with your core values? How much is spent in distraction or in activities that don't really serve you? The truth is, without a clear schedule and a sharp focus, it's all too easy to drift off course. Our modern world is engineered to pull our attention in a million different directions. Notifications, the endless scroll on social media, the latest drama. It can all take away from time that could be spent on more fulfilling pursuits. This is where the art of focus comes in. Focus is not just a skill. It's a practice, almost a form of meditation. It's about bringing your attention back to the present moment and to the task at hand again and again, no matter how many times it wanders. It's about being present in your own life. And scheduling, that's about priority. It's about deciding what's important enough to take up your time. A solid schedule protects your focus by creating boundaries, shielding your energy from the myriad of less important things that could otherwise obsess your day. Stoicism isn't just about enduring life. It's about enjoying it in a rational, thoughtful way. By setting a schedule that reflects your priorities, you're effectively mapping out a path to your best self. And by sticking to this schedule with focused intent, you're walking that path every single day, regardless of external circumstances. This kind of disciplined approach frees you from the tyranny of whims and impulses, and instead grounds your actions in your own chosen value. And let's not underestimate the peace that comes with this kind of structured approach. When you know what you need to do and when you're going to do it, there's a certain calm that settles in. You no longer need to fret about when you'll get to your tasks or whether you're making progress on your goals. Your schedule has it covered. This clarity and peace of mind are priceless. They allow you to fully engage with each task, each moment with full confidence that you're exactly where you need to be. So, how do we start? Begin by evaluating how you currently spend your day. Identify the time sinks, the habitual activities that don't serve your larger goals. Next, think about what you truly want to accomplish both in the short term and the long term. Now, craft your schedule around these insights. Block out time for the activities that drive you toward your goals and be ruthless about cutting out the distractions. Remember, focus and scheduling are skills, and like all skills, they improve with practice. The more you practice focusing on the task at hand and adhering to a well-thought-out schedule, the more natural it will become. Over time, what once felt restrictive will start to feel like freedom. The freedom to live a life that's fully aligned with your deepest values and aspirations. In a world that often seems obsessed with outcomes and end results, it's easy to forget that the journey, the process itself, is where the real magic happens. It's where we learn, grow, and truly make a difference in our own lives and the lives of others. We get so focused on the destination that we sometimes speed past the experiences that shape us, the moments where we find our true strengths and weaknesses. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control. And while we can influence outcomes, we can't control them entirely. What we can manage every day settles our actions and attitude after the actions, and assess the process by shifting our focus from outcomes to the actions that lead to those outcomes. We gain a much deeper sense of control and satisfaction. It's not just about reaching the peak of the mountain. It's about becoming someone who can climb mountains at will. Think about it this way. If you were only fixed on getting to the top of a mountain, you might miss the lessons learned from the struggle of the ascent, the adaptation to the harsh winds, or the strategy needed to tackle the next climb. These experiences are invaluable. They don't just prepare us for one specific goal, but for any challenge that might come our way. In focusing on the process, we become versatile, resilient, and prepared. We become masters of adaptation, not just momentary champions. And here's something else to consider. When we focus solely on results, we're often tempted to take shortcuts. We might achieve our immediate goals, but at what cost? By valuing the process, we ensure that we are building something sustainable, that we're not just building a house of cards ready to topple over at the first sign of trouble. We're laying down a strong foundation, brick by brick, with our own hands. This approach breeds a type of integrity and authenticity that quick wins simply can't match. Moreover, by embracing the process, we learn to find joy in the everyday. Each step becomes rewarding, not just the moment of crossing a finish line. For Stoics, joy comes from performing each task with care and attention, from living according to virtue in the present moment, without being overly attached to the past or anxiously awaiting the future. This mindful approach frees us from the anxiety of what-ifs and if-onlys, allowing us to live fully in the now, appreciating each stroke of the brush as we paint the canvas of our lives. So, how do we make this shift in perspective? Start by setting small, process-oriented goals alongside your larger, outcome-based goals. For instance, instead of just aiming to lose weight, an outcome, set a goal to walk a certain number of steps each day, or to cook a healthy meal each evening. The process. Celebrate these small victories as fervently as you would the achievement of the final goal. Over time, these process goals will build habits, and habits build the kind of life you want to live, one day at a time. In erasing the process, we also cultivate patience, a virtue highly regarded in Stoic philosophy. Patience isn't just about waiting, it's about maintaining a good attitude while working toward your goals, knowing that some things just can't be rushed. It's about trusting the process and being open to the lessons it teaches us. Sometimes, in the constant buzz of our social world, the idea of solitude can feel like a forgotten art. It's almost as if being alone has become synonymous with loneliness or isolation. But there's a profound difference between being lonely and embracing solitude. When we choose solitude, we're not just stepping away from the noise of the world, we're stepping closer to ourselves. It's in these moments of quiet that we often find our deepest clarity and strength. Stoicism, a philosophy that teaches the mastery of self through rational thought and emotional resilience, places great value on solitude. The Stoics understood that some of the most important conversations we will ever have are the ones we have with ourselves. In solitude, away from the influence of external voices and distractions, we can hear our own thoughts more clearly. We can reflect, plan, and connect with our deeper values and aspirations. This isn't about escaping from the world, but rather preparing ourselves to engage with it more effectively. Embracing solitude gives us the space to practice self-reflection, a key Stoic exercise. It allows us to examine our lives critically and compassionately, to acknowledge our flaws and to celebrate our strengths. This kind of introspection helps us understand our motivations and correct our course if we find we've strayed from our chosen path. By regularly engaging in this practice, we build a stronger sense of self-awareness, which is crucial for personal growth and resilience. Moreover, solitude can be a powerful tool to strengthen our inner resolve. In the quiet, we are the sole architects of our thoughts. There is no crowd to sway us, no peer pressure to influence our decisions. It's just us and our principles. This environment is where we can best cultivate fortitude and endurance. It's where we learn to be self-reliant, finding comfort in our own payment and confidence in our own decisions. But how do we embrace solitude in a world that often fears it? Start small. Dedicate a few minutes each day to sit quietly with your thoughts. Maybe it's a morning routine where you reflect on what you want from the day, or perhaps an evening ritual where you ponder what you've learned and how you've grown. These moments alone are not about idleness. They are a place to reset pauses that can help recalibrate your mind and spirit. Remember, the goal of embracing solitude is not to disengage from the relationships and activities that enrich our lives. Instead, it's about creating a balance. Just as our bodies need rest after exertion, our minds benefit from quiet after the clamor. Solitude provides a sanctuary where our minds can rest and recover, gaining the strength needed to face the complexities of life with a calm and steady demeanor.